Good evening, everyone. It is 5:03 PM and I call this public meeting to order. I want to thank everyone who is joining us in this evening. If you want to make a public comment on the items listed under closed session agenda, please listen carefully to the directions provided by clerk at the opening of each item. Mrs. Elizondo.
Public hearing for visitors who wish to address the board on closed session items. 15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on closed session items. Speakers seeking to comment on other items are requested to make those comments during the public comment portion of the meeting at 6:30 PM. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The school board is prohibited by law from taking actions on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item included in this section of the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing none, hearing none, I close the public hearing and I adjourn to closed session to discuss items 1A through 1D. The board will reconvene at the conclusion of the closed session. Good evening, everyone. And it is 6:46 PM and I call this regular meeting to order. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. I want to welcome the media and everyone joining us here in person and through Zoom. At this time, I ask everyone joining this meeting to please silence any electronic devices that are not linked to this meeting. If you want to make a public comment, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each public comment period during the meeting. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, staff, and members of the public, I'd like to remind us all of our vision and our mission. Our vision states that Madera Unified will set the standard for hard work, creativity, resiliency, creativity and resiliency with a fearless drive to continuously improve. And our mission states that we are committed to creating and sustaining a culture, enabling Madera Unified students to experience an unparalleled educational journey that is intellectually, socially, and personally transformative. That's the nature of our work this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Roll call. Mrs. Elizondo, please call the roll.
Trustee Sosa Ramirez.
Here.
Trustee Zavalza.
Here.
Trustee Ahmad. Trustee Cortez.
Here.
Trustee Dybert.
Here.
Trustee Fleek.
Here.
Trustee Seibert.
Here.
Clerk Mendoza.
Here.
And President Salazar.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Clerk Mendoza, would you please lead us in a flag salute?
Yes, please stand. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Thank you, Clerk Mendoza. Tonight's scheduled invocation will be provided by Pastor Mike Sosa of Harvest Community Church of Madera. I invite Pastor Sosa to the podium.
Good evening. Please join me in prayer. God, who creates and sustains, you extend grace and show love to all that has life. We offer thanks for the blessing it is to live in this fair community of Madera. We ask that you continue to provide for us as we work and live here. Spring is here and summer is not far away. We ask, as the school year comes to an end in a month, that you enable our teachers, administrators, staff, and most of all, our students to finish their course of studies well. We pray for the upcoming summer vacation that it will be a time of rejuvenation and recreation for all. We celebrate the end of all our athletic programs for the year. We give thanks for all the team achievements and growth of individual athletes. We also celebrate the success of Madera High's national champion robotics team. May their enthusiasm and example for excellence be contagious among the students throughout the district. We applaud our high school graduates for earning their diplomas. We pray, oh God, that you direct their steps as they leave these familiar halls and embark on the next stage of their journey. Give them knowledge, wisdom, courage, and imagination as they begin to write the next chapter of their lives. Guide all those students who have been promoted to the next grade and encourage them with a sense of personal accomplishment. We give thanks for our faculty, administration, security, and staff who have taught and served our students well. We give thanks for our parents and families who have given our students a safe foundation at home. We give thanks for these elected and appointed board members who serve our school district well and for the work done by this board and their predecessors that had made our schools a success. It's not an easy task, but a fulfilling and meaningful one. So we pray for direction in the work that is before them so they may lead well. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Sosa. Closed session reportable items, action items, Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, we have no reportable items from closed session.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Adoption of the agenda, Mrs. Elizondo.
Action to add or delete items from any portion of the agenda or to discuss any consent agenda items must be taken prior to the adoption of the agenda.
Superintendent Lyle, does staff have items to add or remove from the agenda?
President Salazar, this evening, we do not.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Trustees, do you have anything to add or remove from the agenda? Thank you, trustees. Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Trustees, do you have items? Okay, we do. Trustee Cortez. Trustee Pipe, everybody actually, sorry. Trustees, do I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda with the modification noted? Please state your name when you make a motion and second the motion. To adopt the agenda.
No, Clerk Mendoza, I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I second that. Trustee Dybert, second that.
It has been moved by Clerk Mendoza and second by Trustee Dybert to adopt the agenda with the modification noted. Mrs. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Sosa Ramirez,
Yes.
trustee Zabalza,
Yes.
trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Seibert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Student Board Representative Report. Do I have Mrs. Swad Taha of Madera High School and Meline Miranda of Torres High School? I invite Swad Taha to present the Madera High School Student Board Representative Report.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, Superintendent Lyle, and members of the public. Hope you're all doing well. I'll be presenting to you the Coyote column, which will be a brief summary of all the activities and events we've had from the end of March to the start of May. Next slide, please. In both March and April, we held sports tournaments for students to compete in during their lunch periods. March Madness was our basketball tournament, and in April, we played wiffle ball. The tournaments brought together many students each lunch to participate or watch, and at the end of both tournaments, a team made up of staff would challenge our students. Next slide, please. We were very grateful to have keynote speaker Keith Hawkins return to our school to give us the opportunity to participate in his Day of Understanding. The purpose of his program is to promote a more positive atmosphere on campus and to achieve unity among students. He aims to give students a voice and created an atmosphere of positivity and vulnerability at our school during his program, and it was greatly eye-opening to many students of how far some kindness can go. Next slide, please. As we returned from our spring break, we jumped straight into our annual extravaganza, a community event we host each year for Easter. The various clubs on our campus set up their own stands with activities for those attending the event to participate in. Some of the activities included face paint, hopscotch, an Easter egg hunt, and various other challenges to win some prizes. Next slide, please. I wanted to shout out boys tennis on winning their first playoff game in over 3 years. They played a Division I level team and took the win. Also, a big congratulations to track and field for placing third in CMAC. Track athlete Aaliyah String competed in multiple events and placed first in long jump and second place in the 400-meter dash, 100-meter relay, and 400-meter relay. Next slide, please. FCCLA had a very successful state leadership conference. Various members earned different awards during the conference. Diana Vasquez was elected state historian, which is a very honorable achievement. Katarina Bishong placed third in child development. Delcy Mendoza placed third in teacher train, and Mrs. Stetsko and Mr. Sanchez both received Gold Advisor Awards. Mrs. Stetsko was also awarded the Spirit of Advising Award and will be recognized at nationals in July. Next slide, please. In April, some students in our leadership team went up to Santa Clara for the California Association of Student Leaders Conference. They challenged their comfort zones, made new connections, and learned new ideas that they will use to strengthen the culture of our campus. They also received an Outstanding Leadership Program Award for the 6th consecutive year. They achieved this due to their outstanding ability to cultivate an inclusive, strong, and unified campus culture. Next slide, please. Our California Scholarship Federation Club held a life member night to honor the students that have maintained good grades and been a part of the club for 4+ semesters total. They were awarded certificates and received a CSF pin, tassel, and a graduation stole. It is a great achievement as all CSF members must have high grades to be a part of the club and dedicate time to their community each semester, which goes to show how dedicated these students were throughout the years. Next slide, please. Madera High School held a student recognition ceremony to recognize students who showed excellence in their classes. Students are chosen by a teacher who believed these students most deserved this award, and their teacher was able to present to them their award in the ceremony. Additionally, another way we recognize students' hard work is through scholarship night. Multiple seniors were awarded scholarships for their hard work throughout the year. Next slide, please. During April, our autism skills class created a coffee cart for Autism Awareness Month. They prepared many types of drinks for our staff on our campus. Staff members were able to order a drink, and our students in the autism skills class would then distribute each order. Next slide, please. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month. We value the feelings of each and every student and prioritize their mental health. In honor of this month, we challenge students to fill out a survey every day to express how they feel and include some positive affirmations about themselves. At the end of the month, those who filled out the survey every day during the month of May will be put into a raffle to win a brand new PlayStation 5. We want all students to know it is all right to express how they feel and that their feelings matter. Next slide, please. Last week was Salute to Education Week, where each day we recognized a group of people that are essential to our school community. We started with parents on Monday, then certificated staff, administrators, classified staff, and ended it off on Friday with our students. Each day we did something different to treat each of these groups of people. Some of the things we did was pass out coffee and donuts, barbecue hot dogs for staff, gift plants, and distribute snacks on campus. Without these groups of people, our community would not be what it is, and we greatly appreciate them. Next slide, please. This past Saturday, we held our prom at Birdstone Winery. We changed things up with a vintage and rustic theme and held it in the beautiful outdoors. To make prom more exciting, various games and activities were added, such as basket pong, cornhole, and the chance to have your portrait drawn by our very own Mr. Lopez. Students enjoyed the evening, and it was overall a great night to remember. Next slide, please. I'd like to conclude my presentation with our upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taha. Now I invite Melaine Miranda to present the Torres High School Student Board Representative Report.
Good evening, Madera Unified School District Board President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board. I'm Melanie Miranda here to report. Next slide, please. At the end of March, we hosted our annual Battle of the Classes Week, where each graduating class had the opportunity to participate in games, activities, and spirit days to see which class could bring the most spirit. This year's theme was Greetings from Toro Nation. Classes competed in class skit, video, hallway decor, mascot dress up, cardboard boat races, and daily class challenges, all culminated in our 2023 Battle of the Classes rally. This year, our senior class of 2023 took the victory. Next slide, please. Just after spring break, we hosted our first ever Graduate Profile Defense Day. For the class of 2025, the day was built around the need for our sophomore class to begin preparing for our newest graduation requirement. Throughout the day, groups of sophomores had the chance to present many defenses in front of our panel of community members, as well as a group of their peers to get feedback as they prepared for what's to come for their senior year. While sophomores presented defenses, the rest of the school had the opportunity to hear from guest speakers, hear presentations from our counselors, and connect and build teams in sessions led from our ASB students. It was an amazing day for all involved. Next slide, please. In mid-April, Torres ASB traveled to Santa Clara for the California Association of Student Leaders State Leadership Conference. Our newly elected ASB officers and class presidents had the opportunity to hear from guest speakers, learn leadership lessons and skills, and network with student leaders from all over the state. Torres ASB also received our first ever Outstanding Leadership Program Award for our work facilitating opportunities for student voice, as well as our community-based outreach and events. And our very own Vice President-elect Omar Alvarez was appointed to serve as Media Director for the Castle State Board. Next slide, please. Torres HOSA had an amazing showing at their state leadership conference this year. 35 students traveled to Sacramento to compete, bringing home many awards. Torres was honored to be placed in Be the Match, BJSA, Medical Math, CERT, as well as Emotional Wellbeing Challenge. 14 students are headed to internationals this summer to compete with students from around the world. Next slide, please. On April 26th and 27th, Torres High School partnered with California Highway Patrol to put on our first every 15 minutes program. The two-day program aims to teach students the dangers of drinking and driving. On day one, we facilitated a mock DUI collision complete with first responder responses and the landing of a medical transport helicopter to show students what happens during a DUI crash. On day two, we facilitated a memorial assembly where students got to see a video depicting everything that led up to the crash that they saw on the day one, as well as the aftermath of what a DUI driver goes through. We're extremely grateful to the families, students, and support staff that make this event happen. Next slide, please. In mid-April, our public safety program competed in the Skills USA Crime Scene Investigation and Criminal Justice Competition in Ontario, California. In the CSI division, they went up against the best in all of California, taking second place. They also competed in criminal justice, where students conducted a traffic stop, checked driver's status and warrants over the radio, placed the driver under arrest, and searched the vehicle, where they placed third. And on the engineering side of things, Junior Omar Jaime took home a bronze medal in the architectural drafting. We're incredibly proud of our Skills USA teams. Next slide, please. Just last week, our Torres FBLA traveled to Sacramento to participate in the FBLA California State Leadership Conference. 10 Torres students attended the conference where they learned valuable skills such as time management, money budgeting, how to be a good roommate, and much more. Best of all, our very own Belinda Higareda Vasquez took 4th place in the state for her electronic career portfolio, qualifying for FBLA Nationals in Atlanta, Georgia this summer. Next slide, please. Our Torres band had a fantastic festival season this year. Our concert band improved from receiving good ratings to excellent ratings, and our Torres Wind Ensemble improved their rating from excellent to unanimous superior, the highest rating possible. Just last week, our tour bands had the opportunity to perform with the Fresno State Band. Our Torres music programs are out of this world. Next slide, please. This year, we had 4 Torres students participate in the Madera Art Fest. Julissa Gutierrez and Elizabeth Sanders brought first place in the 2D category and a first place in the 3D category. In addition, we also had 2 honorable mentions, Melanie Larios and Carla Martinez. Next slide, please. At the end of April, we hosted our first ever senior scholarship night, honoring the class of 2023, where we were able to honor 31 seniors with the awards totaling $52,500. We're so excited to celebrate many firsts this year with our inaugural senior class. Next slide, please. On April 29th, we hosted our first ever prom, Paris in the 1920s. Our junior and senior students had the opportunity to enjoy great music, dancing, photo booths, and a desert bar. We also crowned our first ever senior prom royalty. Next slide, please. Our very own Madtown Robotics team traveled to Houston, Texas, where they brought home their second world championship in MUSD history. We're incredibly proud of the students and staff that work hard day in and day out to make Madtown Robotics what it is today. Plans are in the works to honor the team in the near future. Next slide, please. Here are upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miranda. Student Board Member Information and Report, Sebastian Savasa of Madera High and Ingrid Sosa Ramirez of Torres High School. Trustee Savasa, I invite you to share your report with the board, please.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, Superintendent Lyle, members of the board, and general public. This week, I'd like to report that the majority of the senior class at Madera High School are enjoying their last few weeks as a senior before graduating and ultimately beginning their new journeys in life. As for the underclassmen, they too are having a good time on campus and enjoying their experience. My alternative, Jocelyn Garcia, and I are also looking forward to introducing next year's student trustee for Madera High. This will conclude my report.
Thank you, Trustee Savasa. Now I invite Trustee Sosa Ramirez. I invite you to share a report. The board, please.
President Salazar, I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Trustee Sosa Ramirez. Student staff recognition, career technical student organization recognition, Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board and public, this evening we have Director Chris McKenna here and Coordinator Laura Tony. They're here to share a change in tradition that we think is well worth it, especially because we're finding levels of success at the regional, at the state, and at the national and world level with a lot more frequency than ever before in district history. In fact, I think probably the last 4 or 5 years is probably double the last 20 in terms of our levels of success. So with that, and to introduce some of our most successful students who make us the most proud, and especially their families and their teachers as well, Ms. McKenna.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, and Superintendent Lyle. When you get to the district office as an administrator, sometimes you lose touch with kids and you don't get to spend as much time with them and see them. And so tonight brought Coordinator Tony and I a lot of joy. We spent the last hour with some outstanding students in the back and treated them to DeChico's. And we've kind of made a tradition to take our students that place at the regional level to pathway advisory meetings. So their pathways recognize them for doing great at the region. And we take our students that were top 5 in the state and we recognize them at the district advisory. And we save the best of the best for you guys. And so everybody here tonight before you was first in the state or the nation. And we'll kind of give you a rundown of those. And so these are truly state champions. And you know, when we started in this journey in 2014 or 2015, we would get to bring a couple students occasionally, and there would be a CTSO recognized. And tonight I am proud to say we have representation from all of our career technical student organizations. And so we are going to give a rundown of that. And we're starting a new tradition tonight. And so all of our students that were first in the state are going to be awarded a blue and gold cord to wear at graduation. You know, we all went through student champions and these are truly student champions. So when you see these at graduation, these are representative of students that were champions in the state. And some of them aren't seniors this year. So you may see these cords in a couple other years and others may have something to aspire for. So with that, we'll go ahead and go to the first slide and I'm going to ask HOSA and their advisors to come up. And so HOSA is the Health Occupations Students of America. And although HOSA has qualified for nationals, because qualifying for nationals is top 5 in the state, many years before, we have never had a state winner for HOSA until this year. And so the two young ladies, I'm going to put you guys in front, right in front of the dais.
Please in front of the
So
podium. There you go.
yeah, so that
Great.
was the Board of Trustees can see you. These two young ladies are from Torres High School. We have Ingres Ortiz Miguel and Stephanie Venegas. They were first place in CERT skills, and they get to go to Texas this summer to compete. And so Miss Tony is going to give them their cords. Their HOSA advisors from Torres, Miss Jennifer Williams and Mr. Joseph Coppola. And ladies, we're gonna kind of circle the boardroom. So we'll just have you guys kind of go stand to the side while we bring up the next set of students. And I guess I should mention, I'm doing these in chronological order of the way the event happened. I figured that was fairest. So the next set of students we're going to bring up is Madera FFA. So our proficiencies and our stars. And so the first set of Madera FFA students we have is what's called a proficiency award. And so a proficiency award is where a student has a project outside of school where they earn money and work a lot of hours in different areas. And so these students competed against students all over California in their respective areas. And I'll tell you guys their areas here in just a minute. These students have now resubmitted applications to go to nationals. If they place in the top 4 in the nation, they will go to Indianapolis in October to compete for the national title. And so Diversified Horticulture, Alexis Delgadillo was not able to join us tonight. Equine Science Placement, we have Morelia Vieira. Environmental Science, we have Jonathan Spraggins. Turf Grass Management, Will Thompson. And Specialty Animal Production, Juan Rojas. So in addition to proficiencies, there's this thing called STAR Awards. And I think I have some slides. I don't know if you want to pull those up too. So a STAR is even a little bit more elevated, if you will. So they have projects, but multiple projects are competing against each other to be a star in an area. And we had 2 California State STAR winners this year. And so Star Ag Business is the first one. So obviously by the title, that is a star in agricultural business. And that student, Alexis Delgadillo, is not here tonight. He's actually a graduate. So he graduated last year. In FFA, you can run a proficiency 1 year after high school. He is going to be representing California as the National Agri-Science candidate in Indianapolis. And this is the first time in multiple years that California has had a national star representing our state. And so he will go to Indianapolis in October. And then Star in Agricultural Placement is Arturo Madriz. Arturo works for a trucking company doing agricultural products and mechanics, and he is very handy. And so he is a senior this year, so he would not be running until probably the following year for a potential national star, but he is in the running for that as well. And so congratulations to you 5 and good luck in the next stages.
Congratulations.
Robotics. Oh, and while robotics is coming up, I did not mention, and she's going to not appreciate me for mentioning this, their advisor that puts in a lot of hours with proficiency kids and will not ever take the credit is Miss Julie Luxon. I'm not going to ask her to come up because I know she won't, but she is standing in the back if you want to wave at her. So thank you.
Hi, Luxon.
Thank you, Miss Luxon, for all the work you put in with our students. Okay, we got him. So the next set of students, if you've been watching the news anytime recently, you've probably seen these faces on there a time or two. These are our national champions from First Robotics that is housed at world champions. There is representation in Canada and lots of other countries. And so we are extremely proud of them. In 2019, when this was housed in a very much smaller shop at Madera High School, they won for the first time in their brand new shop, $4 million invested by the district. They've done it again. And so the feat of this student and this team couldn't be done without our mentors. couldn't be done without our industry partners. And Ranjit Chahal, or RC, is here with us tonight. I almost got a smile. And they went to CVR, was their first regional. So you've got to qualify for Worlds. They went to CVR, only lost one match. Didn't think that was good enough. They went to Monterey, won them all. First of all, CVR qualified them for Houston. They did Seaside for fun. And then they got to go to Texas. In Texas, they went undefeated. That's unheard of. 52-1 on the season. They just dominated. If you watched any of the matches, the robot was smooth. Understand that these students design, build, and then they have to actually make it operate. And so we are incredibly proud of them. They also were the Hopper Division Industrial Design Award winners. So they got additional swag and bling. We are incredibly proud of you. Just for the community to know, and there'll be some more for our board. We will be hosting a community event for these students on May 18th at Torres, 5 to 8 p.m. in the evening, kind of open house style. Celebrate them a little bit more. We have some senators and congressmen and people that want to speak and present things. And so we will be sure the board gets those official invites as well. But we are incredibly proud. I am going to say their names and give them their cords. So when I say your name, if you can step forward for Miss Tony, Xavier. Xavier Cifuentes, Cody Wilkerson, Nathaniel Perez, Matthew Garcia, Gabriel Alcantara, Aureli Venegas, Pedro Mendoza, Elijah Calderon, Jacob Nava, Bobby Z, Arnor Hans, Adriana Villalobos, Ryan Lawrence, Emmanuel Perez, and Miguel Vargas. And I see lots of gold and blue, so I did not miss anybody. Congratulations. You had a lot of fans cheering you on from at home that wish they could be there, and we are incredibly proud of your efforts and your coaches' efforts. We're not giving you cords, you're graduates, but thank you for everything. And we'll have you guys double up over there, I guess. I'll have you guys got that one.
Kristen, does that conclude our, it
Nope,
does not?
It
right?
does not.
Well, we want to make sure that they all don't leave.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
We're just gonna pile up
Very
over
good.
there. I've got a few more. I'm sorry, I'm not done. I'm not timing myself tonight. FCCLA.
RC, it's good to see you in 3D. It's usually just 2D. Yeah, I think we know you.
FCCLA is Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And these students in front of us tonight were also, again, first in the state. And so we'll start with Torres High School. At Torres High School, Alana Navarro. She placed first in leadership. Madera South, we had Monse, who's not here tonight, and Yesenia Garcia, placed in national programs. In teacher train, first place was Genesis Skian. First place in focus on children is Alma Sosa. And Veseda Perez. And then we have two other students that aren't here tonight, and I'll tell you why here in a second, but we do want to mention that Jasmine Suarez from Madera South was elected as a state officer, and she will be a treasurer for next year. And Diana Vasquez from Madera High was elected as the state historian. However, they are at their first state officer commitment and currently en route back from Sacramento. They didn't make it in time. The national competition for these students is in Colorado this summer. Thank you, ladies.
Wow.
Their teachers are on the side. From Madera South, we have Miss Hanson and Miss George. And from Torres, Miss Rock. Okay, next up, FBLA, and we'll start with the high school. So we'll start with just Steve. So this is Steve Americano with his advisor, Davine Munoz. This is the first time that Madera South had a first in the state. Is that correct, Ms. Munoz? In a while. Okay. And Steve was first in sales presentation. And there's some other students that qualified. Lots of second, thirds, and fourths we're not mentioning tonight. We brought our first place up. So congratulations, Steve. We're very proud of you. And we'll leave you up here because we'll bring up the Mad Tech 8th grade students. I'll have you guys stand right in front of me. So as Madera Technical Exploration Center is continuing to grow, we've started to embed career technical student organizations into the labs where it makes sense. And Mr. Corona, that is here today, is the 8th grade teacher for the entrepreneurship lab at MadTech. FBLA has a middle school division, so they competed against other middle school chapters. Tonight, they are getting certificates with the getting ready to have aspirations to earn those cords in high school. I've talked to a lot of these students and we're really proud of what they do in the future. And so we hope that you continue to dominate in whatever career pathway you pick next year. I know one of them I talked to is education, and we've got culinary and some going into business. And so we look forward to seeing you as high school students achieve accolades as well. And we want to recognize you tonight. And so the first one was digital citizenship and leadership. Edwin Vasquez. First place in FBLA mission and pledge, Samantha Richey. First place in financial literacy, Hector Cardenas. First place in interpersonal communication, Montserrat Luna. First place in learning strategies, Ricardo Alvarez. And first place in running an effective meeting is Arlette Avila. So good luck to you guys as you guys transition into high school. We look forward to seeing you on all 3 campuses and seeing great things. And we'll have you guys join our high school students over there.
Well, wait, there's more.
And last but not least, our freshest state champions, if you will. This just happened last Saturday at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. It's from Madera FFA, and this is our meets evaluation team. And so Mr. George is the coach of this, and it's not his first state champion in meets. 3 of the team members were able to join us today. The 4th is currently probably showing his goat at the Chowchilla Fair. And so their nationals will be in Indianapolis in October. And so as a team, they were first, but there was also some high individuals. So first high individual was Anita Guerron. Third high individual, Oswaldo Montez. And 5th high individual, Caleb Faint. And so they get to prepare and get ready for the next stage, as many of these students do. And so we hope to bring back some more national champions in the fall board meeting. But we always like to bring them all at once. And I am very proud by the number of students sitting on the sidelines right now. The ability to win at such high levels really takes our core values and our mission and really kind of sets the stage for what we want to do. So on behalf of our department, and I think I speak for the board, thank you and congratulations. You make us proud. picture.
I think we'd love to have a picture,
Perfect.
right? And we'd love to shake all their hands and say congratulations individually. They make us proud.
Okay, do we want to do like by organization pictures? Because I don't know that we're all gonna fit at one
I
time.
don't think you're all gonna fit.
So let's get, since FFA is up here, let's get the rest of our
Or
FFA.
you can organize this. Director Garnica can organize this.
Perfect.
He's quite smart about
Thank
these
you.
things. Congratulations.
That's your first learning.
I'm not sure we're gonna be able to do that for this. I think we probably want to just get them crowd in and get a good picture.
Well, yeah, because. No, it's not a gimmick, it's because they're gonna hit you for 12% on that loan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of short too, so. Well, might as well stand. Try to get. Give us.
Okay, that sounds good. Bye. So.
It's really not about us so much, so. Congratulations. But before you go, congratulations. Congratulations. Around the horn, please.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
Felicidades ustedes. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Good to see you again. It's a good thing you got your mom's brains, right? Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Padres too.
This way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, trustee Pan. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, you guys. You make us proud. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Stand. Stand.
We need a bigger boardroom, don't we?
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. Well, un momentito, huh? Congratulations. Really proud of you guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you guys.
Congratulations.
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 Congratulations. Good to see you again.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Mom's brains. Congratulations. That's kind of a big win for the Stallions. I like that, man. Congratulations.
Be the salesperson.
Right? 100%, right? Joseph, good to see you, man. Glad you're here. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good luck to your future. Should have worn the medallion
Yeah.
for the win.
get ourselves organized for the police escort. I think that'll be fun. Which one? With the good hair? He's lucky. He might have to give you a kiss. I'm only shaking his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to be in the picture.
Or don't.
Got it.
Madtown.
Madtown. Robotic. We need a cheerleading team.
This is better. It's better to make a video.
Yeah.
A lot of parent photos.
That's around.
Stick around, guys. Parents are gonna take pictures too real fast.
Certainly. Oh, the parents get.
We're good? Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations. It was really fun watching you guys. We'll go this direction. Follow leader over this way. There you go. And that way.
Start this way.
Perfect.
Keep on going. Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. See you guys on the 18th. It'll be a big party. Congratulations. Congratulations.
You did excellent.
Thank
job.
you guys for making us so proud.
You're very
Congratulations, you
smart.
guys. Hope you had a great time. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mijo.
You made us really proud, you guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations. It was fun. It
Congratulations.
was fun. Congratulations.
Cody, congratulations.
RC, I want to give you a hug, man. Congratulations. Congratulations. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. I know you.
Right. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the students and the director, Ms. McKenna.
And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
You were taking this picture. Muchas gracias, señora.
Gracias.
Felicidades a su hija. Que siga. Oh, muchas gracias. Esperamos su carrera que sigue para adelante. Aquí estamos. Ahí la tiene usted. Ahí está, sí se puede. Ahí está usted que le empuje. Gracias, señora. Paso buenas tardes. Ya, ahí está usted para que la levante. Bye, thank you. Gracias. Paso buenas noches.
Nos vemos ustedes.
Thank you, Director McKenna, and congratulations to all the students. Now we proceed to the Madera minutes. Superintendent.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, there is a lot to celebrate, and obviously we're always a work in progress, but here are some of the highlights.
Red Alliance winning. We have a new champion here.
What better way to kick off this Madera Minutes than by talking about MUs, these world champs? The Madtown Robotics 1323 are the new FIRST Robotics International Competition champions. The three-day event was held in Houston, Texas, and brought more than 600 teams from all over the world to compete against each other.
Super exhilarated. It's just a dream come true. Honestly, it's something we've been wanting to this is going to be our second season that we've been wanting to go for it as a group, and it's just so exciting to see it actually come to fruition.
Congratulations, Madtown. The whole district is proud of you. And congratulations to the Madera FFA Meets Evaluation student team, who are now the California State Champions. Over 2,000 high school students from across the state competed at the annual California State FFA Finals competition last week at Cal Poly. Next up, the team will be competing at Nationals in October. Two schools from Madera Unified were recognized by Fresno State Bonner Center for Schools of Character. Martin Luther King Middle School and Madera High School received the award last month for their PBIS implementation, social emotional learning, and character education programs. Students, staff, and leaders from each school attended the recognition ceremony at Fresno State to receive their awards. And Washington Elementary School celebrated 100 years of education. The school has been celebrating with different activities involving their Tiger community throughout the school year. Last week, the Madera community was invited to participate in a carnival in honor of this milestone.
It's a privilege and a very special honor to be the principal in our 100th year and to bring everyone together to celebrate our multiculturalism, our bilingualism, trilingualism, and just seeing everyone here celebrating with one common cause and being here together for the school turning 100.
Millview Elementary School opened its doors for a fun family STEM night. Students and their families participated in different activities that allow them to explore the world of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics by using familiar children's stories.
Right foot, let's go. Left foot, let's go.
And Rose Elementary is making sure to keep its students engaged and connected to their culture. The school organized its first multicultural event where those in attendance enjoyed live performances, food, and talked to local first responders.
It was really put together by teamwork and from the community groups and businesses and the staff here at Virginia Lee Rose to the families that are here today. So everyone together.
In other things, it has been a busy couple of weeks for MUSD Community Service and Parent Resource Centers. The center teamed up with the Department of Community Services, local first responders, and county agencies to offer a series of parenting classes. The Loving Solutions program and the Parent Project gave parents skills to reduce family conflict, improve student attendance, and more. A total of 37 parents graduated from the program. The Department of Community Services and Parent Resource Centers has also teamed up with the Parent Institute of Quality Education to provide families with a series of classes on topics such as literacy, social emotional learning, and access to higher education. 55 parents graduated from this program. Community Services and Parent Resource Centers hosted a total of 5 health fairs at Washington, Alpha, Pershing, Millview, and Madison Elementary Schools. Hundreds of families in the community joined the fairs to learn more about the community resources, access to multiple health screenings, vaccination on site, and health snack sampling and raffles. And in other things, Torrey's High School, in partnership with Madera First Responders, hosted an Every 15 Minutes program. Students saw firsthand the consequences of driving drunk or under the influence of drugs during a 2-day program. The 2-day presentation started with the crash simulation, followed by a memorial assembly that included the participation of Torrey's High School students.
Thank you, thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Now I go on to public hearing for visitors who wish to speak on a subject not on the board agenda. Mrs. Elizondo.
15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the school board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the board president has the option of asking the speaker to hold a comment until that item is called. Comments and items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held until the hearing is opened. The school board is prohibited by law from taking actions on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item not on the board agenda, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. Yes, can you go ahead and, yep.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elizabeth. I'm a resident here of Madera. This is Billy, and we have a 13-year-old over at TJ. And I had planned other words for tonight, but since this is Teacher Appreciation Week, I wanted you all to know how amazing the teachers at Billy's autism class are. I can't tell you how many nights Mr. Diorian has FaceTimed with us at midnight to read a story to get him to go to sleep. Every morning, he comes out and get him like at 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock, because Billy still can't tolerate the buses. Mrs. Richey, the principal, knows him by name. He was 3 years old. When she sees us out in the community, she always makes it a point to come up and say, "Hi, Billy, how are you doing?" And she waits for him to respond, and she waits for eye contact. I can't tell you how grateful we are for Noemi and Melissa, our SLPs. I can't tell you the thousands of text messages on days off, on summer break, Easter break, that go between us and the SLPs. I can't even begin to tell you how many times Mr. Diorian has met us at the park to swing at Easter break, at his house. Yes, and even sometimes for ice cream. So Teacher Appreciation Week, you guys have an amazing staff out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other parents?
We have no one online. Anybody here? No.
We have none online.
None online, and no comments were submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
You guys have to step up to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Elaine Garcia. I live here in Madera, California.
I'm Jim Wilkerson. I live here in Madera, California as well.
And so our sons are both on the Madtown Robotics World Championships team. And of course, we're so extremely proud of them. And we're grateful for all the accolades that they have received so far. And it's been amazing. Our kids have really felt welcomed and appreciated for their work, their hard work. They spent a good 4 months of endless day by day. We would like to say 24/7 work at the shop and at the warehouse, learning their skills and improving their bots. Now, what we saw today with all of these CTE groups was the amazing capabilities of these kids and how hard they've worked and how far they've come. And so I know that it was mentioned that Matilda Torres will be having a community event for them on the 18th for Madtown Robotics. But I wanted to present to you guys an idea for a parade for these kids, not only for Madtown Robotics, but also for the other CTE groups that have shown themselves today and what they've done. Being that Madtown Robotics did start at Madera High, I wanted to recommend that, let me back a little bit. Recommendation for a parade was given, but because Matilda Torres is off of Road 26, coming off of Country Club Drive, it was stated that maybe that wasn't such a good idea. It was going to be a lot more difficult for us to be able to check down that road in comparison to other parades that we've had in the city in the past. And so, of course, being a resident and being a graduate of Madera High, I have seen many parades, many for football, baseball, for homecoming, which is all awesome. But I would really like to see a parade for these children, for these teenagers, these kids that have really dedicated their lives the last 4 months, and they continue to work hard to make this program great. And so my proposal would have been to take the parade from Town and Country, coming down Howard to Olive and then to Stadium. I think it would be appropriate for this program in itself because it did originate at Madera High, as well as we have a Madera High student on our team right now. We have a Sherman Thomas student, and we would really like to make it known to the community that this is a community program. all students are able to participate. Of course, getting there is probably the challenge, and that's why we have so many Matilda Torres students, obviously. The facility, it's amazing. It really is amazing. But I don't think we should take away from the fact that it did start at Madera High. And I think it would be something to commemorate not only where it began, but also these kids and how hard they worked. And that's all.
One thing I would like to add is in 2019, when Madera High won the championships, you guys, they did do a parade. My son was just leaving 8th grade. We took him to that parade. And that parade that day is, I think, what solidified him into making the decision that he was going to become part of the robotics team. So it's great for the kids we have, but I think the parade is also going to help recruit the younger generation into it. And I'm hoping that you guys will agree with that, and maybe we can get this ball rolling and get that parade set up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Information reports, fiscal services, review comprehensive evaluation of Madera Unified School District 2022-2023 annual contract service agreements. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board and public, we have CFO Garcia here for this item. We do it every year. Some of you may remember when you directed us to go through a comprehensive review of the effectiveness and the implementation of our contracts with service providers from outside the district. We engage that process. We're beginning to refine it, or we're refining it every year. I think we're beginning to really get the hang of it now. So CFO Garcia, if you would please.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees. And I would like to first thank all the MUSD leaders that helped me get all these evaluations done and presented to you. And as Superintendent Lyle has mentioned it, we do this every year. Now it's a routine. So these ones are contracts that are currently in, we are using them this fiscal year. We have over 241 contracts in the that has been evaluated. 31 of them are not being renewed or they've been restructured. And so in the next board meeting, I'm going to bring the 23-24 contracts that are going to renew for the next fiscal year. We're going to have a first reading, and then I'll bring it in the following board meeting in June for approval. So if you have any specific questions on these contracts and these evaluations, I'll be happy to answer. And I have a whole team in Zoom to help me if I need help answering any of your questions.
Trustees, do you have any questions? Trustee Dybert? Trustee Cortez?
I was just wondering about the method that's used to scrutinize some of these
Evaluate them?
programs.
Yes, at the end of the book, you can see the guidelines that we use for the different the rubric that we use, and you can see that we have the implementation, the overall implementation, and we have to choose between limited implementation, moderate, and strong or full implementation. So that's the first thing that they look at. And so then they have to say if it was, we have between poor and exemplary. And so those are the two items that they choose from. And of course, they have to put in the evidence what they are basing their rate on it.
And is there a committee that does this process, or?
No, every director, the person that is in charge of that contract is the one that is doing the evaluation.
That is it.
Trustee Fleek?
Are most of these contracts for a full year or?
Yes, they are effective for the full year. Of course, that some are depending on when they are needed. Some are continuing through the whole year and some are like, we need them at the beginning. Like, for example, we have licenses. Most of it is for like curriculum and instruction. We pay for the contract at the beginning of the year and then we use it the whole year.
Thank you.
Trustee Cyber? Can you turn your microphone, please?
On the hotspots, we haven't, we still got to go to hotspots. We haven't had any other options.
Well, we have the country schools mainly that is no receptions there. The internet over there is very hard to get through companies. So we're still using some of those hotspots there.
And Trustee Cyber, we are working on an LTE network that will provide internet service out in those outlying areas. It's being built now, if I'm not mistaken. That's all gone through the bid process.
Right, so
And
that's what.
right. So we're on it, but we are making sure that we still are supporting our students in need as we're building it out.
They're spending $300,000 a year now.
That was the amount for this year, but if you will see in the 23-24 estimated amount, we're reducing quite a bit on that that expenditure because we don't need as many.
Thank you.
Clerk Mendoza?
No questions.
I have no questions at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Trustee Dybert, she didn't answer the first time.
Sorry. Do you know the total cost of all of these vendors? How much this adds up to?
I don't have the total in the report, but I can get it to you. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to know. And the funding for all of these vendors, do they vary the general?
Yes, they varies. And when the next board meeting, when we bring the 23-24, it will list the funding that we're gonna use for them. So we only list it when they get approved, not on the evaluation.
Okay. And do any of these, can we live without having some of these vendors' services?
Well, if we have the funding and it's a need, we want to continue the contract. But if we have limited resources, of course, we'll have to prioritize what we need.
And you said there were 31 vendors that we're not bringing back, right?
Yes.
And that's because of no services, we don't have funding, or?
When the director or the person in charge of that contract make the evaluation, either we don't need it or we're using something else. If you have a specific question on any of them, I can have one of the director in charge to help me answer the question.
Maybe just the list of the ones that we're not bringing back.
Okay.
I just like to see them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll email
Thank
that to you.
President Salas.
So the directors have gone through these vendor lists for every department. And they reviewed, the evaluation based on their criteria that they have listed on this report. And they go through it and based on their budget for their department, if they're going to use the services and they eliminate the ones that they're not using their services or for whatever various reasons. So to your list that you want, the 31, the list really won't really help you if you don't know the details of why we're not using them anymore. And as far as the budget, they vary from different budgets. So in the next report, it would have the list already. It will have criteria of what code is coming off of and what department is coming off of. And some of these might be supported by a grant on some of the services. Some of them are, all depends on the different contracts and what their terms are. So those are various different questions and stuff. And the director has that responsibility to what they put here, that we trust that director has gone through those different stages with these reports. So that way alleviate having to do another report that's repetitive was not really going to do you any good if you don't understand the background to it. And that's what she's coming from.
Yes, and if you want a specific example, on page 17, we have in the third column, it's a column that says renew and it has a question mark. And you're gonna see there if that says yes or no. So for example, Ruckus for 19,000 that we have this, Screen Testify for 97,000. It has a no, it's not renewing. And in the implementation evidence, the explanation is use of the product is limited. The service does not provide a good administrative tool to verify the usage of the product. So there is the explanation why we're not renewing it, and you can see in the column.
I see it now. I was going through some of these pages and I saw yes, yes, yes. And so I thought that maybe the ones that you were excluding were not, so they're all
They are
here.
only
Never
here.
mind. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good with
Yes,
that.
I'll
The
just,
directors have taken the time to go through these, and then, well, unfortunately, if we ever get to the point that we need to cut some budget, then the directors will have to evaluate and what's necessary in order to give the services to the students and the teachers and the supporting staff. Thank you so much.
and I'll get you the total for the whole contracts, okay?
Okay, now, thank you Superintendent Lyle. Thank you CFO Garcia for the report, for all your hard work, and thank the directors as well, and all the staff that I know they don't do it alone. Union time, at this time, I invite the presidents of the unions to address the board. Mr. Holder, as MUTA president, would you like to address the board?
Good evening, Board President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, Board Member Superintendent Lyle. To start with, tomorrow, May 10th, is the California Day of the Teacher, and it is also the National School Nurse Day. So I'd like to say thank you for all the teachers and nurses throughout Madera Unified School District for everything you do. It's much appreciated. And again, thank you for all the teachers and nurses in the schools. And I also like to say that April 28th, Madera Unified Teachers Association completed their latest officer election. And the following individuals were elected for this next 2-year cycle as the Madera Unified Teacher Association officers. Mr. Kelly was elected vice president. Mrs. Sullivan was elected treasurer. Ms. Gyllenhaal was elected secretary, and Mrs. Houghton and Mrs. Ragsdale were elected as MUTA at-large reps. So that was completed on the 28th, and I was reelected as president. So the cycle again now for the next 2 years. So those are the MUTA officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Any other union presidents?
She is in line, but she has nothing to report, President Salazar.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Superintendent Tyne.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board and public. First, we'd like to thank our coordinators in HR, Coordinator Wade and Coordinator Thornton for their dedication and preparation for the CTC accreditation visit. Our teachers, support mentors provided a service and connection to our new teachers that just is not found elsewhere in the state of California in the experience of this accreditation team that visited us last week. They appreciated the lengths to which we go to recruit, support, and retain teachers, and felt that we're an emerging model for the entire state of California. So I want to thank the work that is being done by Assistant Superintendent Aiello, Coordinator Wade and Thornton and their team. And I want to thank all the teachers and the leaders who work really hard during the year to continuously improve our quality. A 7-year accreditation was the goal, mission accomplished. Torres High School and Madera South had fantastic celebrations of Seal of Biliteracy. Madera High School will celebrate theirs later this week, and we want to thank our principals, their counselors, keynote speakers, and organizers for spotlighting this high honor and elevating our community language assets. Our world language teachers are doing tremendous work. THS led the way with 62 honorees, and Madera High School honored 48 students, with Madera South honoring 44. The Stallions, though, ever competitive, have 100 students on deck or more for next year, and they hope to steal the top spot. So thanks to all involved, especially our world language teachers who really do a fantastic job of getting our kids across the finish line. I'd also like to point out that we had Washington's 100-year celebration. It was a really amazing centennial. A giant thank you goes to Principal Hernandez, Vice Principal Pena, and the entire Tiger staff for an amazing centennial at Washington. President Salazar, Trustee Ahmed, Trustee Fleek, CFO Garcia, Area Assistant Superintendent Lopez, the Washington legends, Ms. Frances Brown, Carlos Beckett, and Dr. Flores were all there in attendance to dignify the occasion. We had alumni, past students, we had staff all come out in force and it was an amazing evening for the Tiger community. I want to thank them for that. And I also like to congratulate President Holder for winning yet again. It may be that you're setting records now in the association for longevity and stability. And it really does show. We appreciate all the work that you do and the stability that you bring and the tough, adversarial, yet always respectful relationship. So thank you, sir. Congratulations. Oh, and I have one more, but that's for later.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Consent agenda, Mrs. Elizondo.
Items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and are acted on by the Board of Trustees in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board or staff requests specific items be considered and discussed separately and are removed from the consent agenda prior to the adoption of the agenda. It is understood that the administration recommends approval on all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the Board of Trustees shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended.
I now open the consent agenda for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. See no one come forward. I close public comment. I now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. State your name when making the motion and when you second the motion. Trustees, I have a motion to approve the agenda.
Trustee Fleek, I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Fleek. Do I have a second? Thank you. It has been moved by Trustee Fleek and second by Trustee Seibert to approve the consent agenda. There are no resolutions in the consent agenda. Mrs. Elizondo, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Sosa Ramirez,
Yes.
Trustee Zavalza,
Yes.
Trustee Cortez,
Yes.
Trustee Dybert,
Yes.
Trustee Fleek,
Yes.
Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Superintendent Lau, do you have any administrative announcements?
I do have just one. So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board and public, for a long time, we've been dreaming about the opportunity to really create a high quality, high participation activities and athletics program across the city. We've explored various opportunities with after-school programming. We've redeveloped our Madera Unified Athletic League, and we've really tried to create a much more engaging and fun experience for our students. But we're going to take it to the next level. For several years, this board has really dreamed out loud right here in this very space about trying to get more students involved who get a chance to know each other from across the city. Used to be when we were a smaller community, we all got to know each other from everywhere, playing Little League or Bobby Sox or just being involved in 4-H or Campfire. There's a lot of things out there for our students to do, but we see declining participation everywhere. Across the nation, we see students not playing sports, not being involved in the high quality activities that you got to see spotlighted tonight. We see students on their devices at home playing video games, not even really interacting with their own brothers and sisters to the level they used to. And this board has never sat by watching those things happen without trying to make something new happen. And we've been dreaming about it. Well, tonight we took a big step forward. We were able to create a position with some real good support from our community partners at the City of Madera to create a community activities and athletics position at a director level. Tonight, we appointed someone to that position, and I have the chance to introduce him to you. And I think he comes with need of introduction. He was for 7 years in a very similar capacity, but at a district level at Central Unified. After that, he served for about 10 years as the Buchanan High School Athletic Director. He has a very, I think, powerful and really inspiring vision for what's possible in Madera. The facilities that have been provided by this board and maintained by this district for many years are actually improving all the time. They were pretty good to start with, but they just keep getting better each generation. And we have an opportunity now to go to the next level. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you the very esteemed Mr. James Gambrell, our Director of Activities and Athletics. There's a button to press right there, sir. There's a button, right?
Turn the speaker on
There.
right there. Thank you.
There you go.
I'm not real good with technology, so bear with me here. Speaking of technology, I was watching from the back there, and I looked up and said, "My dad came to watch tonight," and I actually looked up and it was me. So I was not a good sign. But President Salazar and Clerk Mendoza, Superintendent Lyle, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm so honored to be here and be part of, or becoming part of the Madera Unified, team. And it's something that I'm really excited about. I want to thank all of you for trusting me and believing in me that I could be somebody to come in this new position and really achieve the goals and the dreams of what you have been talking about. Superintendent Lyle, I'd like to thank you personally for being a courageous leader, for being a man that inspires, somebody that's from the community and truly believes that he wants what's best for the community and is willing to think outside the proverbial box to do that. And Joe Aiello, I'd like to thank you for being a man of integrity, a man of character. He's proven to be a leader that people will follow. And, that doesn't come easily at today's day. So I like to make sure I thank Joe as well. I like to say how excited I am to work with Marty Bitter. Marty Bitter is a fantastic guy. I know him very well, and I'm really excited to work with him and really figure out how to support our middle school and our high school athletic directors as we really develop and look at these K-6 activities. These activities are going to be a building block. They're going to be a building block for what we want to achieve through the middle school and the high schools. And then we're going to be able to have that building block where we're going to connect kids. We're going to increase participation. We're going to increase kids' willingness to want to be connected to schools. And we're going to increase fundamentals. And I know that you're looking at me saying a kindergartner, but listen, it always starts somewhere. There has to be a foundation, has to start somewhere. And that's something that we're really excited about. And I would say I'm also really excited about, and I know that some people might smirk at me, but I'm excited to work with the community and getting to know all of the city leaders and getting to know what they're currently doing and helping them look to expand and really get out to the community. And lastly, a passion of mine is facilities and having the opportunity to work with people in Madera and to develop a premier athletic facility that would bring notoriety and revenue to the city is something I'm super excited about as well. Once again, thank you for having me here tonight. I'm so excited and honored to be part of your team. Thank you.
Thank you.
So James, we'll be taking a good look at those art studios and the dance rooms and the gyms at the city. And we're going to get you out to go meet our partners, and you'll get a chance to see Director Hebert with the city of Madera again and have a chance to dialogue with him. And we're gonna marry the assets of Madera to serve the kids in this community in a way that maybe nobody else in California is doing. It's going to be pretty exciting to see students who haven't been able to afford to be a part of these opportunities to get that chance with high quality coaches, high quality teachers and mentors. This is going to be a fantastic game changer for the social emotional health of this community. So thank you for coming on board with some vision. We appreciate you. Good luck.
Thank you. Old business. Area Assistant Superintendent, second reading and request approval of board policy, high school graduation requirements.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, you may recall that we discussed last time we were together a revision to board policy to try to match what's happening in other school districts. In fact, just this morning, I found that Visalia Unified had just recently amended their graduation requirements also for very similar reasons with alternative education, and actually down farther than what we're recommending this evening, all the way down to 170 credits. So we'd like to have a full discussion about that and really make sure that our trustees understand why, what, and how, all related to this particular item. We really would like to be a district that isn't so far out in front of every other, when so many of the other districts have already made some revisions, especially based on things we learned during the pandemic. We want to make sure that we're not putting our students at a disadvantage. So with that, I'd like to invite Assistant Superintendent Rodriguez to the podium. The floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees. Appreciate the second read, and I'm here to answer any questions, explore any ideas. I know we have Director Allison Crafton online. We have Area Assistant Superintendent Lopez, and I know we also have Mr. Juarez, principal at Mount Vista, who's here to help represent his colleagues of site leadership.
Trustees, do we have any questions for Superintendent Rossio? No questions?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, Ms. Seibert, Trustee Seibert.
Yeah, you're looking at credits and everything, but are we looking at any mastery, what these kids have to know to graduate?
At Mount Vista, fortunately, they do have the same scope of sequence and curriculum as the comprehensives. However, and I know that Mr. Juarez will back me up on this and help with some of the details. The way they're able to break up in continuation schools, for example, their semester, they are able to have a bit more of an accelerated credit recovery, but the curriculum itself, the standards-based learning that happens in our comprehensive is matched in the alt-eds. And then we also have the effort to actually carry out the graduate profile defense. It's the same as we would in the comprehensives. So in that sense, there's a match there. What we find in particular, I have more experience with Mount Vista because of my very old, now it's been 2 years since I was the area superintendent for the Red Pyramid. I spent a lot more time at Mount Vista, but what I can see is when we use the same diagnostics assessments at across the board, we do see accelerated growth in alignment to standards based on NWA math and reading. So when you're looking at academic areas, it's the same across the board. And you actually do see those students have quite a bit of recovery while they're at Mount Vista. There's a stabilizing effect, and then there's a rapid growth that happens while they're there. It's a really interesting phenomena. And when you ask them, what they tell you is it's the level of engagement that they get in that setting that's unique to them. It's also a smaller setting.
And the graduate profile will also be a part of the mix.
It's going to be a great,
on.
it'll be a great metric too, because those students, we can guarantee to the community that they will have met the same outcomes and expectations as any comprehensive student with in regards to the graduate profile and the core learning areas that we have across the board.
Any other question? Trustee Free?
Yeah, it kind of bothered me that they are going to reduce the math credits to 20 because I know so many of our students are so low in math. But they have to pass Math 1.
As a state, that's correct. At the state level, they do have to have passed Math 1, and they have to have 2 years of math at the state level. One of the things that informed this decision, besides comparing it to the other like districts, we did keep 4 years of English. We felt that that was foundational with so many other aspects of life. According to the National Center of Education and Economics, when they did national studies, and it's been a while since I've read the article, but we referenced this research where some of the math people who are listening, and Mr. Crosco's not here to throw darts at me. There were some studies around the level of math necessary to be successful at a community college level. And I don't remember if it was in employment, but at the community college level. And they found that the level of math was equivalent to high school algebra 1.25. So as Algebra 1 and just slightly beyond, which was a bit jarring. And I do know that at the state level, there is an effort to rewrite the frameworks that I know are coming out soon, and they'll be completely different. And I know that we'll have an opportunity to revisit it then if it's not appropriate. But we felt that based on the depth of the academic holes that they were having to come out of, that the 2 years would be sufficient to carry over to community college, to the workforce, or to occupational training if necessary. And based on the level of growth that they're having, we felt like it would give them an opportunity to have a bit more of a high quality learning experience and not be overwhelmed by the amount of credits that they're having to churn out. And so a bit more quality, a bit more depth than breadth is what we're looking for with that rationale. And that
So there
proposal
would be
before you.
less frustration and more success.
What
hopefully.
happens, and I know this is something that the principals have described and that I've seen now, is the students feel so overwhelmed by just the number of credits. And because of their level of development, their brain development at that age, they tend to get disincentivized when they see that volume. And if they can taste a little success and they can see it just a little closer, something happens to their commitment levels and they tend not to give up. And we find that even at the comprehensives. Once they fall a little behind, you almost have to drag them along. Something happens. And then once you get them to a certain point, they can pick themselves up and keep going. There's something psychological that happens to kids when they've had that reset. And it's such a daunting challenge in front of them when they see, I have to make up how many years and how many credits. There's that psychologically, that's sort of what we were thinking as part of this too, in addition to what we were learning from NISL.
That sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
Cortez.
Yes, so I do have, I guess, a follow-up question to the question I presented at the first presentation. So it looks like from the newsletter and the information that was provided in there to the board to the trustees, there's it's parent initiated or it's counselor initiated in regards to alternative placement. And so when it's counselor or initiated rather, the concern that I have there is that as it reads, it says counselor contacts student and parent because the credit deficiency is beyond the number a student is likely able to access by remaining at the comprehensive school. And so the concern there is, why does it have to get to that level before the counselor? And I know that there's a lot of factors, there's a lot of variables. It's not as simple as maybe it sounds, but that is a concern that I have as far as why are we waiting until it's beyond, manageable, so that until the counselor contacts the parents.
We do have quite a bit of work on that front. And I will say that I know that in my conversations with Superintendent Lyle around this next phase of my career is improving the quality of services to students on multiple levels, but counseling is on our mind. I will say that the reference point listed in the APT paperwork that's typically a tipping point to refer to alternative ed, because what you tried to do is you tried to keep them in the comprehensives as much as possible with the hopes that mathematically it's still possible to graduate. For example, you might have a student who their freshman year, they sort of bomb, which happens often with, I would say not often, it's the most often place it happens, I should say. And so mathematically we say, look, you can still graduate. You need to come to summer school. You'll have some credit recovery. You're still within reach. The referral to alternative ed comes when, if that happens multiple times and they start to slip past us, we then say, look, at this point, mathematically, it's better for you to go there, accelerate your credits, and come back and graduate with us. We do find that some students want to stay at Alt-Ed, but what I will say is that it doesn't necessarily capture the amount of intervention that does occur prior to them actually getting to that point. And so and we have a lot of work to do on this front when it comes to academic intervention, especially tier 2 in the classroom. What you'll find is in elementary, the academic intervention is stronger. When you get to secondary, it's a lot harder because something about the schedule where you're having 190 students to intervene on is a bit harder to plan for than in intermediate, you have 38, then as you get younger, you have smaller classes. It's a lot more, especially when there's discrete skills that you can see in primary. But I will say that there are interventions that do happen. I can tell you through my experience at Madera South, we constantly analyze the data about the students who were behind, and we had everything from students who are just barely behind, and we would have these group meetings with students, explaining to them the graduation process, A through G requirements, graduation requirements. We had parent meetings. And then as the students, we felt they were getting a little closer to being behind, further behind, we would have smaller meetings, eventually individualized meetings, and we would build these 4-year plans for them. So there's quite a bit of intervention that does happen. It needs to continue improving. Absolutely. We need to also standardize some of the best practices that we do see, individual counselors in some pockets. I do know there's a tremendous amount of work that our counseling department has undergone through the ASCA leadership, the standards for the counselor profession, and most recently Hatchings. And there's a lot of work that I know Director McKenna, Director Diorian, Assistant Superintendent Marshall, our counselor on special assignment, Mrs. White, to help improve the practices of the counselors to prevent it from getting to that point. And in the classroom level work with academic intervention is key. Because of what you're describing, students not getting to the point beyond correction, trying to keep them at the comprehensives.
And I also think that it's unrealistic, the way I understand it, the way I understand the ratio stands between counselors to students. It's unrealistic that they're going to be able to get to every single student and provide that, great customer service. So are we enrolling the parent as well as a third leg to this? These situations when they do come up? And what does that look like?
The
enrolling
counseling
parent.
ratio, I'm sorry, go ahead. The counseling ratio off the top of my head at the high school in the high schools in Madera Unified is actually extremely healthy. I would say it's about 300 to 1, if I'm not mistaken. The state average is about 700 to 1.
270 to
270.
280 in high school, 230 in middle school. State average, last time I knew, was 700 to 1.
So we have a pretty small counselor student ratio relative to the state. I don't dismiss the fact that it's still a lot of students. One of the things I know that Hatchings, and this is the work that I remember doing as a principal, is being a bit more systematic with the way we do intervene. For example, at what point having thresholds for at what point you have to involve a parent. Something we instituted that is similar, but an example is you don't get to withdraw from an AP class until we have a meeting with your child about it. We need to have a meeting to discuss it. If you're behind credits and we call you into the office to discuss that, the parents are a key stakeholder, and the documentation process for that, having an intervention plan for that. So coordinating services for that student and identifying and diagnosing why that student's particularly falling behind. And there's a variety of reasons that we find. There are some patterns in high school that you find, for sure. There's patterns sometimes in subject areas. You see patterns with specific teachers. So when you diagnose that, you find the entry point to the solution. And it's been something that we've been working through. I will say that the Hatchings work with our counseling department is specifically designed to professionalize the counseling departments in a way where that becomes standard, and the way the medical profession has standard expectations in their profession, we would have that in counseling too. And there are standards, and now it's a matter of being more systematic. And I think that that's a really key opportunity for the role I have, not to assign myself a bunch more work, but I find that extremely important, being a person who slipped through the cracks and was caught by Mrs. Torres, and to make sure that I ended up where I wanted to be. So I find that counselors are absolutely really high leverage educators that when it works well, you have a lifelong change. When it doesn't work well, we have an overwhelmed alternative education system. It's not just on counselors, but they're a key role, a safety net, I would say, at a minimum.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Rodriguez. I now open this item for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you're joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. And I just wanted to state in regards to Trustee Fleek's concern that Jennifer Malsum, teacher at Mount Vista, commented to everyone online that many students at Mount Vista choose to take more math courses than are required right now. They take statistics as 4-year course as an elective, and she believes this will continue to happen even with the reduction.
Thank you,
And
Ms.
there are no more comments, sorry, online and none written.
Thank you, Mr. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any further questions? No. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve item 12A. Please state your name and when making the motion and second the motion.
Trustee Cybert, I move to approve item 12A1.
Clerk Mendoza, I second it.
It has been moved by trustee Cybert and second by clerk Mendoza to approve item 12A. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Yes, and I wanted to state that trustees have also left at 8:02 and trustee Cesar Ramirez left at 8:04. Okay, so trustee Cortez. Your vote. Sorry.
Oh, yes. I was writing some notes. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
Trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Cybert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. New business, item 13A1, Administrative and Supportive Services, request approval to reject bid number 031623 and contract with DH Williams Construction, Inc. for the Dixieland Portable Project. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board and public, we have the always professional and very talented Director Rosalind Cox here for this item.
Good evening, President Salazar, members of the board, Superintendent Lyle. So last year, the board approved to purchase and install a new portable at Dixieland School due to our increasing enrollment numbers and curriculum needs. We went ahead and purchased a new portable from American Modular off of a piggyback contract. We have been working with Darden Architects on the construction documents and trying to obtain DSA approval. Unfortunately, we have run into some roadblocks that I will discuss in a little bit. But after much work and perseverance, we were able to receive DSA approval. And so a bid to do the site work for this project was issued by the district on March 16th and March 23rd. Bids were due on April 12th. Unfortunately, we did not receive any bids. And so therefore, we are recommending to reject bid number 031623 due to lack of bids. Fortunately, under Public Contract Code 22038, if no bids are received through the formal or informal procedure, the project may be performed by negotiated contract. And so we went ahead and solicited bids from 2 general contractors, and we are recommending to contract with DH Williams Construction. We've actually worked with DH Williams in the past. They helped us with the Monroe Restroom Portable Project, and more recently, the Madera South Maintenance and Weight Room Building Project. And we were very pleased with the quality of their work, their cost, and meeting the schedule. The cost for the Dixieland project is $696,000. The cost is quite a bit higher than we had initially budgeted, which was about $350,000. And I'll go through kind of some of the reasons why we saw those high costs. First, we have to put in a new, we have to upsize the fire water tank. So over at Dixieland, they have a fire water tank for their fire suppression system. And the size of the tank is based on the square footage of the buildings out there. By adding this new portable, which is 960 square feet, that triggered a DSA requirement to now add additional water storage. And so we need to install a larger tank, which now sits on a new foundation. So we need to put in a new foundation for the new tank. We also have to rework the electrical and plumbing to tie into the existing system. Also with that, so with the new tank, we now need to reroute the existing fire lane and put in, so reroute the existing fire lane and put in a new gate and some fencing. We also, there's some various ADA upgrades that we need to do to satisfy DSA. So there are 2 existing ADA parking stalls that we need to replace. We have to tear out and replace the concrete area in front of the school by the main gate administration area. We have to add a sidewalk just west of the playground for path of travel to the restroom. Speaking of restrooms, we need to make some modifications to the student and staff restrooms. In the student restroom, minor modifications needed to the toilet partitions and accessories. The staff restroom, a little bit more involved, tearing out 2 walls in order to provide the required space for ADA access. And then lastly, I'd say because of summer school, some of the work has to be phased. And so that leads to some inefficiencies for the general contractor. Remobilization costs are we're seeing those in that bid amount. And so tonight we are recommending to contract with DH Williams so that we can move forward with this project. Construction can begin in early June, so we can have the portable in place by August, as the school does need this classroom space. And before I conclude, I know I have Darren Klein here. He's our construction manager from Kitchell. I didn't know if, Darren, if you had anything else you wanted to add or if I missed anything.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and the rest of the members of the board. Couple things I just want to highlight for consideration. As Rosalind said, we've got a deadline of August 8th to get a new portable on site. And so there's 2 considerations we really need to consider. One being time. We don't have time to go out and rebid the project under the standard bidding process. We simply could not get the bids in, get it under contract in time to get the work done. The other would be cost. Just the other day, we were having a pre-bid meeting for another project. And while we were waiting for everybody to show up, I was talking with some of the contractors who were there early. There were 3 contractors who had chased each other around to 3 different pre-bid meetings the day prior. What that tells us is that the Central Valley right now is hopping. There's a lot of work out there. So the more work means there's a whole lot less competition, especially as certain contractors get their portfolio filled up. They're going to be less and less likely to keep bidding on projects, which just shortens the bidder market. So it does become a bidder's market right now. And so cost is something to consider. There's no guarantee that if we did rebid the project, that we would get any better cost than what we've got now. So just ask for your thoughts and your consideration and addressing those 2 items as you vote.
Any questions, trustee? Trustee Diber, do you have any questions? Can you turn on your speaker, please? Microphone, I mean.
Fund 25, it's a routine maintenance.
Is developer fees.
Trustee Cortez? Trustee Fleet? No. Trustee Seibert?
Yeah, so the Dixieland staff were complaining about the restroom for staff restroom. Is that being taken care of in it?
Yes, we're not only modifying the students' restroom, but the staff restroom and the cafeteria as well.
To take care of their needs. Now, the water tank, is it one big tank or is it multiple tanks?
One big tank.
One big tank, it's a big tank. Yeah. So he has to reroute the fire lane because the tank is so big?
Yeah. With the location of the tank, it requires a reroute of the fire lane. And there was some issues with the existing fire lane and the proximity to the building as well.
Okay, you can't use multiple tanks.
I'm sorry.
Multiple tanks wouldn't help your situation.
I think in talking with the maintenance staff, looking at the life expectancy of the existing tank, it made better sense to go with the new one.
Thank you.
Clerk Mendoza.
No questions.
I have some. So this new portable will house how many more additional classrooms on this portable?
So this portable is adding one classroom to the school. So it can house up to 38 students in the classroom.
And so this new water tank that we're having to add and everything, I'm sure we're making sure we're going to have the right pressure and everything for the water flow for these.
Oh,
new
yes,
portable and so
it has
forth.
been looked at by many engineers. That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Cox. I'm sorry. I now open the item for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on your reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have any comments or any people who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any further questions for staff? No, okay. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve item 13A1. Please state your name and when making a motion and second a motion.
Clerk Mendoza, I move to approve 13A1.
Thank you.
Trustee Felica, I'll second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Clerk Mendoza and second by Trustee Fleet to approve item 13A. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Cortez,
Yes.
Trustee Trustee Dybert. Yes, thank you. Trustee Fleek,
Yes.
Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Item 13B1, Educational Services, first reading of the core textbook adoption of Physics of the Universe and AP European History. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board, in the absence of our very esteemed former Director of Curriculum Instruction for Secondary, Selma Gonzalez, we have the very talented and quite accomplished Director of College and Career Readiness here for this item, Ms. Kristen McKenna.
Good evening again, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, and Superintendent Lyle. As Superintendent Lyle stated, I'm covering this item for former Director Gonzalez. So I will do my best to answer questions, but this is a textbook adoption for 2 courses. The first course is the Physics of the Universe. This is a 3rd-year course in the NGSS sequence for science. This was an adoption that was slated for last year, but because most of the textbooks publishers didn't have the materials ready until this year, they went ahead and did that adoption this year. The committee followed the board policy around textbook adoption, making sure that there were at least 3 texts to review and brought in teachers to do that. The second book here that we are adopting is for AP European History. So AP European History is a 10th grade AP class that has been historically offered in Madera Unified for years. As dual enrollment has come out, most students would opt out of AP European History and take the dual enrollment History 20 for college credit, which is a great class. However, as more students are interested in that course, Dual enrollment is controlled in terms of teachers at the high school meeting minimum qualifications. And so if you're a high school history teacher, that's fine, but you also have to meet the qualifications for the college to teach the college courses. And so we are limited on the number of sections we can have from the college based on the qualifications of our instructors. And so a few of our sites had more students that were wanting these courses than what we could offer. And so what that looks like at high school is there's usually History 11, which is US history, and History 20, that's world history. And we can only have a total of 4 sections with a teacher because that's the cap from the college. And so oftentimes you'll have 2 and 2. But that only limits it to 76 students. And so when students still want an AP or an advanced option, we want to give them that opportunity. And so this will be for the students that can't fit the dual enrollment class into their section. So we're bringing it back to expand opportunities to students. Textbook adoptions for AP classes are a little bit different. For that, we have to look at College Board, since AP is kind of controlled by them. And we look at the textbook, the recommended textbooks. And so the committee, again, from all 3 high schools, brought teachers in, they reviewed the College Board lists. And in the attachments that Director Gonzalez provided, it shows the rankings of those textbooks, as well as the justification and rationale. I will answer any questions that the board may have about either of these or the process.
Thank you, Director McKenna, Associate Superintendent Sissel, and staff. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff?
Do you have the books for us to look at?
The secondary curriculum and instruction department has them or had them. I'm sure we can get them again. And so I can coordinate with Coordinator Lorenzo for anybody that wanted to see those.
We can put those in the superintendent's office. That's how we've done it in the past, and they're available to you.
Perfect. I will work with Ms. Soto and to do that.
Mendoza.
Regarding the AP European history, what timeframes does that cover?
That is a great question that I will have to get back to you on. I am not sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Once upon a time, I think I can answer this. Once upon a time, it was the fall of the Roman Empire. So it was like the dawn of the Middle Ages all the way through, I believe, Napoleon. I don't think it went beyond the 19th century.
I'm sure I can find something on College Board to send you.
I was thinking more like Hammurabi time.
That's Asia.
So our teachers are prepared for these courses?
Yes. Yeah. Physics of the Universe has been offered at all 3 sites continuously, but the new materials that were aligned to the standards weren't available yet. And so kind of this is a refresh, the course that has been offered. So this will enhance it. AP European history has historically been offered. And like I said, kind of as dual enrollment's taken off, it's gone away. And so it's just bringing it back. Now those teachers will have to go to AP training if they've never taught that course before to get some additional support. But they are recruiting for those courses.
Thank you.
And if we have to recruit teachers, like to probably teach about the universe, I think there's a Mr. Holder in the back who maybe wants to be a taker. He's a science guy.
He's thinking really hard.
Thank you, Director McKenna.
Thank you.
Now on to item 13C, Human Resources Request Adoption of Resolution Number 36-2022-23, Final Classified Layoff Reductions. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board, we have Assistant Superintendent Aiello here for this item. It's yours, sir.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza's member of the board, Superintendent Lyle. Before you, you have a final resolution for classified layoffs. At our February 28th board meeting, we brought forth to you a list of initial layoffs for 10 office assistant positions and 2 student advocate positions. After that approval of the resolution on the 28th, our office served layoff notices before the March 15th deadline to those individuals. Since that meeting, we've been working in collaboration with CSEA and our Personnel Commission Office. And during that time, we've had 3 office assistant positions that have been vacated due to a promotion to other positions or resignation from the district. We also had a number 9 office assistants. They're all hired in the same date. And so we had a lottery selection to establish new seniority dates and identify which employees will be receiving a layoff notice. During that time, we will rescind 3 layoff notices to those office assistants that had the January 11th, 2022 seniority date. We are lucky enough that we are not going to have to lay off any of our student advocate positions due to a grant that we just received. Thank you, Mr. Diorian, for your hard work on that. We're able to make sure we can move some of our individuals into those open positions. And we've been through all of our displacement bumping and have brought forward to you a resolution with 6 office assistants, and their names are listed on the addendum A that pending your approval of this resolution, will be serving final layoff notices.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Ali Aiello. I now open this to public comment. Ms. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? Trustee Dybert?
I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cortez?
No questions.
Trustee Fleek?
None, thank you.
Trustee Seibert? Clerk Mendoza?
No questions.
Neither do I. Thank you. So now I entertain a motion and a second to approve item 13C1. Please state your name and when you make a motion and your second emotion.
Trustee Fleek, I move to adopt resolution number 36, 2022, 23, final classified layoff reductions.
Thank you, trustees. Do I have a second?
Trustee Seibert, I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Seibert. It has been moved by trustee Fleek and second by trustee Seibert to approve item 13C. Mrs. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Seibert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. On to item 13D1, Student and Family Support Service request approval of the services contract between Madera Unified School District and Parsec Real LLC to provide qualitative feedback through recorded video interviews and powerful analysis capability beginning May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, I know many of you will remember that we've had some really strong and I think really meaningful conversations about the power of student voice. You may also recall that when we decided to develop the community compact and the student champion document, and then later the Bill of Rights and the Believer document, we always intended to incorporate students into what we mentioned whenever we mentioned community. And we've done that. That's why we have student board members today. That's why we have so many really poignant and emotionally charged student videos that feature their voice about their journey through our schools. You'll probably also recall that that has made a tremendous difference in a lot of our policy decisions, a lot of our strategic decisions with the design partnership work with NCEE and our community. And you'll probably recall that our students are beginning to feel more often heard and understood. No doubt you've noticed that across the country, you've seen students whose voices will be heard after tragedies, whether they're school shootings or tragedies out in their community. Young people know how to have their voices heard. Because you've shown so much courage in listening and making decisions that meet their needs, and because we've put such a premium on how their voices change tradition, smash tradition, and help us find more positive ways to grow, we have an opportunity in front of us to do something no other district is doing in terms of student voice. And that's to capture hundreds upon hundreds of students' voices and really understand what the message is that they have for us to understand. So I'd like to introduce Director Karen Diorian, who's here to present this item to you. And I think can help us understand the strategic value that is within it as an opportunity. It seems a little bit far-fetched, except it's been happening for quite a long time, just without us and without our profession. So Ms. Diorian, if you would.
Thank you. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees, and Superintendent Lyle. I'm excited to bring to you tonight a contract that provides our schools a method of collecting student voice, as Superintendent just shared, with some really innovative technology. Because I don't really have the capacity to explain the depth of this technology, I brought some experts with me. So I'd like to bring up to the podium Babatunde and Jamin from Parsec Real, who will dig a little deeper and explain this to you and answer any questions. Please join us.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board. It is different being back here. People were texting me, I guess they saw me on the camera. I guess I was like, camera shot back there, and they're like, "You're back." And I'm like, this is like, feels like I'm back at home. Like I love being here. So thank you for having us here. Before I introduce Jamin Brazil, I just want to share that when I left Madera Unified, we are leasing a space, and the owner of the space is Jamin Brazil, and we had conversation. I think we had a lunch together, and he talked to me a little bit about the businesses he's been in. And one of the things I shared with him is this passion for student voice, and I learned it in Madera Unified here. And Superintendent Lyle is obviously this big cheerleader for elevating student voice, parent voice, staff voice, and he leads by example. Like he literally is in the trenches. And as board members, you probably have seen it happen in action. And obviously with the leadership team, with Cheryl Sissel and all the team behind, I know that they're big on that as well. The challenge with that is it takes a lot of human capital and time, right? A lot of energy and resources to do that. And then the size of the number is smaller. So for example, today I was at Madera High, meeting with our students at Madera High from 8 to 3 with a couple of our team members, capturing student voice, doing empathy interviews and focus groups, hearing their feedback, which is actually, things are shifting, especially for African-American students, which is a positive thing. But anyways, I was talking with Jamin about that, and I learned a lot about Jamin Brazil. And one of the things is that in the business world, with Fortune 500 companies, et cetera, they leverage video survey technology. And I never thought about that. And I always thought it would always be very, very challenging and difficult to at scale capture student voice outside of instruments like a Likert scale survey. The typical surveys that you would give a student, and they would answer from 1 to 5, tell me how you feel about X, Y, or Z. And video technology allows you to be way more open to share freely. Does that make sense? And so when Jamin and I were speaking, it just clicked immediately for me, like, oh my goodness, we should be leveraging this same type of technology, but in education, to help elevate student voice, even parent voice, and even and staff voice, right? And so anyways, what's really neat too about Jamin is he comes from Madera, and I'll let him kind of share a little bit about himself, because it's been like this God match relationship, I think. And so Jamin.
It's an honor to be able to address you. I'm not sure how to advance the slides, but if we could go to the next slide, I'd appreciate that. Yeah, great, good.
No cybernetics here.
No, it's perfect.
Just
So
voice commands.
it worked.
Works.
I grew up in Madera. This is a picture of me when I was around 11 years old. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to grow up on a very small farm, grapes to raisins. And my dad believed computers were going to be a big deal at some point. And so in around 82, 83, he made a material investment of over $1,000, which is a truckload of money for a small raisin farmer, and said, go figure this out.
Commodore 64,
It was Apple II. And so
big time.
so I'm very thankful for my father for doing that. And the second thing he did for me is late nights irrigating. He would hand me a shovel. And at the end of the night, he would tell me, Jamin, if you don't stay in college, all this is yours. And so I was very highly motivated to figure out how I could leverage technology so that I did not have to be on the back end of a shovel the rest of my life. And to that end, I moved to the Bay Area in the early 90s and was fortunate enough to find a job in market research. This is consumer surveys, paper-based stuff, and worked my way up and did probably the first online survey for commercial purposes in 1996. In 2000, I created a software program still in Palo Alto, and then relocated that company called Decipher to Fresno, California in 2022. From there, it grew to 200 employees, direct feeders from local colleges, and the companies that were poaching my employees were quite literally Amazon and Google and Apple. So we're very fortunate that ultimately ended up to be 13 offices globally with 400 employees, including Singapore and other places. My clients included almost all of the Fortune 500. And so anyway, all that, which is not very Madera of me to say, but there's a time to be humble and there's a time to be transparent. And we're at a point right now in technology where it's an iPhone moment. It's a moment where we can, and if we go to the next slide, sorry. And this is your part. Sorry.
I was like interested. I wanted to hear. But so this is something I've been asking people, and Cheryl and I had the opportunity to present to a group because of our LCAP was like a model example across the state for in particularly emergent multilingual students. And we shared this, like we said, do we value what we measure, right? Or do we measure what we value? And it's something to really think hard about, because what happens, typically speaking, is we end up measuring the things that are easy to measure. However, what is more important to do is figure out those things we value and figure out the ways to measure those things we value. And it takes usually more resources, energy, and time. And this is where, obviously here in Madera Unified, you look at the Student Bill of Rights, you look at the graduate profile work, right? You look at the Community Compact. It's all pointing to the things we value. It's very, very challenging to measure those things, right? And even with this technology of Parsec Real, it's still going to be challenging to measure these things. This will help, and other things will help, but it's still going to be very challenging to measure. And so that's what, if you can advance the slide, that's why when we talk, do you remember me talking about street data? You guys remember a little bit? Trustee Seibert, do you remember? You're like, no. So I'll just explain it real quickly. There's 3 levels of data. And when Prince rebound back here to Madera Unified, remember Prince had left, where did he go? Oh, Prince left, he came back, right? And he goes, Babatunde, you might be interested in this book. It's called Street Data. And he knows I'm into data. So he said, maybe you should read this book. I'm like, yeah, of course. And so I devoured the book. And I'm like, Prince, what do you think? And he goes, I haven't read it yet. I just recommended it to you to read.
That wasn't nice.
But there's 3 levels of data. There's satellite data, which is basically what usually you as the board will get presented information on, like the state assessment results, those types of things. High level, yeah, CASP. High level, but it really does not tell you the full picture of what's going on. We have world championship robotics team here twice, not just once, twice, right? And then, I'm not going to name names for the editors of these newspapers are claiming certain things about our community. And I'm like, I text the superintendent like enraged. I was like, I'm gonna write something to them.
Have you done
because
that yet?
I'm going,
Oh,
I have,
okay.
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Because here's the deal. I'm not saying it, I'm on camera or whatever. But here's the deal, right? Are we truly valuing what we measure? Are we measuring what we value? And you see like world championship robotics team, we have amazing kids here, right? And we have to elevate their voices. And the satellite data tells you some information, but it's an incomplete story at best. If you go to the map data, that gets you down closer to the ground level. Those are things like running records, formative assessments. Those are things that are important. It's going to give you more information. And usually that's where we tend to stop, because at scale, map data, you can collect it across, 20,000 plus students. However, it doesn't tell you everything, right? The satellite and map data wasn't enough to create that sense of urgency here in Madera Unified for African-American student achievement. It wasn't. When I would present 20% of African-American students being suspended one or more times here in Madera Unified, it didn't create that it was like, oh, okay, I know that data point now. But when we saw those student voice videos, it was game over. And that happens when we were sitting in on the focus groups and you hear the students directly sharing their experiences. It compels you to make these changes. It creates that motivation and says, no, I want that our kids have a different experience than what they're sharing. I want them to feel like they belong. I want them to feel like an adult cares for them here in our system. And they do. And there's just this disconnect, right? And that's why even with our student voice session today, we saw some changes. And I was telling Superintendent Lyle that earlier. But that map data doesn't give you all that information. You get to panorama survey data, that's great, but it doesn't give you that direct street data from the students' voices. So you go down to the lowest level, and that's the street data. There's 3 different ways to collect street data: classroom observations, stories and narratives, and artifacts, actual evidence of student work. Guess what we're doing here in Madera Unified? I got the pleasure of getting invited, thankfully, to watch the graduate profile defense at Torres High School. A great example of street data. That's what we value, right? Guess what? The local control accountability plan gives you an opportunity called local measures to allow you to communicate these things and to share. This is what we value here in Madera Unified. Yes, the California dashboard is important, but this is more important, right? We double down on those areas, right? And so this is why I'm so excited to be here to share with you about this technology. And then Jamin is going to share kind of how this technology will work so we can capture student voice at scale and share with you themes to help improve student achievement here.
That's fine. Great. So we're at this, as I was trying to say before, we're at this moment in technology where we've had probably the biggest, I believe it's a more impactful breakthrough than the internet itself. Granted, we need the internet in order to accomplish this, but the impact is massive. So my career, I've done billions of surveys, billions of surveys have been done on the tools that I've built. But what's really interesting is we've always had to reduce, if you think about what a survey is just an instrument to allow us to have a conversation at scale. So I could send all of you a questionnaire, you would fill it out, I would look at it, and I would reduce it to pie charts and bar charts and compare differences and that sort of thing. But it's a very inhuman way to communicate. We would not have a beer or whatever, sorry. And
chocolate milk.
Chocolate
at
milk
school.
is what I meant to say, sorry. My wife's gonna kill me. She's a school teacher at Verinda, by the way. Those are our 2 kids there. But anyway, so we, in a conversation, we would never have feedback like that. We'd never be like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about XYZ? Now, for the first time, we can ask a population, a mass of people, what their point of view is, or how they're feeling, or what they're struggling with, or what gets them excited at school, or how do they feel as they're on the bus going into the classroom. I was bullied for 2 years, and that never surfaced That had a big impact on my scholastic outcome for 2 years at Eastern Arcola. And so there was just not a mechanism for me to be able to communicate that. And now for the first time, we have the opportunity to be able to actually have a conversation leveraging artificial intelligence and be able to analyze that artificial intelligence in a way that is very actionable for administration and for parents and for teachers, which I believe is a material unlock for our student body. I think I kind of skipped over some slides, so forward. Yeah, there are some of the technology, there are technology examples of this right now. In fact, one of the companies that I work for specializes in video feedback through surveys. And we're doing this, we're literally launching a project in concert with Microsoft's CMO literally right now. And they've approved it. Where we are gathering consumer feedback. These are buyers of Microsoft and people like us, like you and me. And that information is being gathered via video and then being analyzed by Microsoft executives to make real-time decisions. So this isn't like out there, not accessible. These are technologies that have just been released and are being used not just for key executives or technologists, but they're being used by everyday people to do things like figure out what the best recipe is for pie. I mean, apple pie, excuse me. So, you have a lot, you have a lot of access to these types of technologies, but the specific application to the student body is what we really care about right now. Next slide, please. Right, so how do we scale? And then the next slide. Yeah, one more. And then this is an example of what the app will look like. These are, we're creating a working prototype right now. So you can see we'll have a video, AI will help, as there's a lot of bias in survey data. I'm not going to try to go down the street, go into this in too depth because I know it's very late, but we can actually start controlling the moderator, the person that is having the conversation with the student, right? So it can more mirror what they look like and what they sound like. This is a significant impact because it immediately garners some level of trust and understanding so that we can get better, more truthful responses from students. Additionally, the students will have the opportunity to be able to provide feedback in a number of ways, either video or maybe they want to mask themselves and not disclose who they are, in which case then they can go audio only or maybe text if they would prefer that mode of providing input. But there'll be multiple modes that they'd be able to provide feedback to questions. And then they'll simply hit save and then that information will be uploaded. Additionally, we'll have the ability of asking them some survey-based data question types that are pretty standard if we want to incorporate that into the individualized surveys. This is app-based, meaning it will sit and reside on students' phones. And what's really interesting is the proliferation of phones actually creates this like democratization so that students can provide feedback whenever they want to provide feedback. And we can also solicit that feedback through the app, asking them about, hey, you're getting ready to go to the school this morning. How are you feeling? That creates this like real-time response for us to be able to connect with them. Next slide, please. The second part that I think is really important right now, and I have two students, a kindergartner and a second grader at Berenda. And, there are genuine concerns inside of the classroom that my kids experience, that our kids experience. And so if there are behavioral issues or concerns around safety that students are elevating, then we, through the platform, through artificial intelligence, can identify those in an early warning, in a way of early warning, so that they can then be alerted. Those alerts can be directed to the right people inside of administration. Next slide, please. Additionally, there's the admin board is what we're calling this. And this is an opportunity for you to ask queries of the generative AI. So you could actually ask it a question like, what are the top 3 things students that are going to Berenda are concerned with right now? That's a huge unlock. That's a really powerful thing. And it will actually give you some feedback. Now, we can't separate, it's not the totality of knowledge. We can't separate ourselves from that. We have to then take that information and contextualize it and really understand it. But this is a really big opportunity for us to be able to dive into the student's perspective. The next. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the other piece is this, and to try to simplify some things. If you have an iPhone, right? And you go to, like, I went to Disney, right? And I took pictures and I had my kids there and it was fun, blah, 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 right? Even the CSBA conference in San Diego, I saw some of you there, right? Same thing. Took pictures. I can hit a button and hit play, and guess what happens? The iPhone throws in a song and grabs the best quality pictures and videos and creates a little reel, right? Could you imagine that? That's the thing we're talking about. Creating a mini reel, not just getting a report, but creating a mini reel of, hey, this is even bright spots. We've talked about negative things. There's positive things happening in Madera Unified. These are some of the positive things that students are saying at XYZ pyramid or school or what have you. And here's a little mini reel that gives you the highlights via video, audio, etc. Remember the Hear Me Out podcast, right? Where we would interview students and hear that audio, right? That same type of thing, you know, but leveraging the technology so we could do it more at scale. I just wanted to share, add that in real quick.
Thanks for highlighting that. And so one of the things that we can do is if we want to pull together, if you want to pull together a reel as a user of the app, you would be able to say, give me the highlight. What are the 3 things that students are looking forward to this year going back to school, for thinking about like enrollment time. And the students it'll actually compile a highlight reel for you so that you can see that. And what is really powerful for corporations right now is that data is being understood in a new way. Headline and story. That's what motivates action inside of, if you're a Fortune 1000 company, that's what you care about, because that's what everybody in the organization can get behind. You need to have massive amounts of data. I'm not suggesting by any means that you don't do that, but we now have the opportunity to be able to reduce what is the actual like headline that people can repeat and understand, and then what is the actual human story being told by those same humans, and that being done in a way that is very easy and accessible for users.
So Jamie, I want to, if you'll indulge me for just a second, one of the things that I have had innumerable conversations with teachers about is student motivation.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's harder and harder to find a way to define what motivates students right now, right? The world is changing super fast. Their experiences are very different from ours. You know, I'm a Gen X dinosaur at this point, right?
Yeah, you mean.
I mean, I graduated from high school 31 years ago. What do I know? Right? Like Nirvana still sounds edgy to me, right? But the kids are not where I am right now. And teachers who are, you know, my age and older, and certainly even teachers that are younger, are really struggling to figure out what in the world moves kids to be engaged and motivated and interested. And the truth is, a lot, and this will happen sometimes, we got to ask them.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity to ask them. This is one of the things I think is really important for our trustees to hear is there's no part of this that we want to use as a setup for teachers or administrators or anybody. What we want is to understand how to answer those questions. What motivates our students?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most exciting thing that they feel like they've experienced in their education? When we can ask those kinds of questions and we can get to the most, like the highest leverage items of interest to help us invest and to help us diagnose and to train. I mean, we're talking about saving thousands upon thousands of hours and dollars in order to really serve our kids, our parents, and our community. These tools have been used for a while.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
To make money, not to serve the public good. And that's where this gets really interesting for me, because I have no business mind whatsoever, but I wake up always wanting to know what we can do in terms of the public good. So this is really exciting to me. It feels like a Blade Runner moment.
It is a Blade Runner moment, and thank you for that reference. Yeah, like one of my favorite movies. Yeah, so I mean, what you're saying is so important. And I just want to say that it is a huge honor for me to be able to stand here. I'm doing my wife probably just, she's so embarrassed, I'm sure, but like my 6-year-old, we went to Disneyland recently for spring break, and she, you know, falls in love every time with the different songs. So we get back to the hotel, and I walk in to the room, and she had been recording herself singing one of the Frozen songs, right? And then she was playing that video back, singing along with it. The point is that this generation uses video in the same way that when I took typing at my electric typing class in Madera High,
Ms. Belden's class.
that's right. That's how we learn to do it, right? And so this is the way that they communicate. Now we have an opportunity to actually survey them in a way that is native for them.
And, you know, one of the things that occurs to me is one of the teachers at Madison a few years ago sat down and asked my son, why are you not using Spanish on the playground? And why are you not using Spanish at home? And we couldn't get a straight answer out of him, but he told her. And it just, if you ask the right question and you get the right answer, I mean, that's an incredibly important question we need to ask at our dual language schools. You know, in what places do you feel most comfortable using your native language? And then we start asking, can you imagine how powerful that information is for us to be able to get and share back with our teachers so they can target their instruction and create the conditions for that to happen? And when we ask our parents, you know, when do you feel most secure? What things make you feel most secure about sending your student to school? We would know how to meet their needs without making the best guess, right? Or trying to divine that from a panorama survey. And we have really powerful parent leaders right now in our district. They're doing fantastic work, and teacher leaders too. It feels like there's more and more buy-in to make good decisions and make changes pretty much across the board, so long as it makes really good sense. I think this helps us find a way to make it.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation.
So we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Dorian, Babatunde, Damon Parsec for the presentation. I now open this item for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, please click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions? Trustee Dybert?
When will this be implemented if the board approves?
So it's actually pretty, what's it called, flexible, which is really neat, because we have the opportunity to implement it where it'll be physically at school, or they could do it from home. So the flexibility is pretty high. And we envision this not to be like the panorama survey, for example, is about a 15, 20-minute survey or so. This will be like shorter spurts, but more frequent. Does that make sense? So it's not like one time a year we get, you know, your feedback. It'll be much more frequent, smaller, shorter spurts though.
So to understand, like, for example, the app will be downloaded on the student's phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be questions there that will be live per se for a certain time, and then you'll be switching the questions from time to time?
Yes, exactly. So then basically the idea would be that the flexibility will be similar to almost I mean, kids are on like the TikTok and Instagram and, you know, all these social media, Snapchat or whatever. They're very used to that. I know as adults, it's different for us because
Mhm.
we're like, we're barely know how to use Facebook or something, right? So, but kids, it's different. My
Right.
daughter, 7th grade, I don't allow her personally. I don't allow her on the social media apps because of my own personal reasons as a father. However, her friends are on there and she begs me every second to download. She knows exactly what she wants to do. She knows exactly how to navigate the thing. So the kids kind of understand that world a lot better than us. I know as adults, you're trying to wrap your head around it. You're like, this is not my world here, but they know that world very well.
Okay, because I'm trying to understand how it works. Like you said, we don't use it. I don't have TikTok, but I don't even get in there. Somebody help me create or download the app and I don't know how to use it. But it's too much for me, skipping 1 or 2 social media. But so the questions are produced by you, or is it something, the questions that are, let's say it's a hot topic or something's going on in Madera Unified?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you would decide you would push the questions out and also when the questions are sent out. And then students can download the app and install the app through like a QR code or some other mechanism.
Okay.
So it'd be really easy for them.
Okay, and who will be monitoring somebody will be checking all of that and providing a report to somebody? There is some key, topics there.
So my department would have oversight from it, and then each school site admin team would also have oversight for their particular school.
Okay, so each school site has the jurisdiction of how the questions or whatever that will be put in the app, or it will be a district-wide kind of survey, or?
It will probably be the first iteration will be a district-wide survey that will be controlled that way. And you raise a really interesting point on who should be able to have control or influence over what those questions are. The plan right now is that we come up with a proposed set of questions and when those questions would be deployed to the students. And then, so that's the current
Okay,
framework.
one final question. So this will be for what grade levels will be utilizing?
High school. Is
Just
it
high school.
high
Okay.
school is the starting in that,
Starting
yeah.
high school. Okay, thank you.
So does this work similar to how like ChatGPT works in compiling all this information, digesting it to, and shortcutting all of that time and that labor intensive, human capital? And so then, because that is, extremely fascinating. I recently started using ChatGPT for my business. So this is fascinating to me.
You're exactly right. In fact, it would be built on ChatGPT 3.5 right now, and then later 4, leveraging OpenAI. Yeah.
Trustee Fleek?
No question. Thank you.
Seibert?
Yeah, I wonder if it'd be useful for like determining what kids are really interested, what kind of career pathways and stuff. And because all kids are different, they learn different ways and they have different, I guess, talents and stuff. And so how do you figure out, what kind of a pathway they should be in, what kind of classes we should be offering?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Those are the types of things. It's not just looking
That's
at
it.
like the negative things. It's actually looking at also the things that are really good and positive. And the way we prompt and determine the types of questions can easily answer what you're saying and looking for.
And I think piggybacking on Trustee Cortez's point about using OpenAI, once you start using the tool, it starts unlocking a lot of additional questions. So you can start like really querying the students' feedback to get really specific on things that they like, not just categorically, like thinking about Brenda, but you can get down to, Brenda's a bad example because it's not high school, but Madera High. But you can get to specific like ethnicities, for example, or genders, and find out what they think is really interesting from a career perspective and what support they would like to have, et cetera, et cetera.
Clerk Mendoza.
Okay, thank you. I'm just concerned about controls in place, information verified, privacy issues, and comments exaggerated by those that are inputting into that system. So
I'll let Jamin respond because this is his definitely expertise in this area.
We asked some of the very same questions, Clerk Mendoza.
Yeah, survey fraud is right now around between 20 to 30%, not right to, and some of that is bots and some of that is just people being fraudulent, declaring who they are, but actually not being that person. In this case, we would have a identifier for at the student level. And so we'd be able to digitally fingerprint that particular user's phone, that device that they're collecting the data on. So that's like thing one that would allow us to create a one-to-one relationship with the feedback that that person gives us. And then the second part of it is you can actually use AI to detect bad actors, people who are behaving abnormally. And so to that end, we would leverage AI to be able to weed out the people that are potentially using the app for malicious purposes. And there's a couple of examples that pop up right now. So for example, with the anonymous phone number that we have that students can notify in the event that there's like the Stop It app. Thank you, the Stop It app. And so like in my wife's class, there was one of her students that actually was getting bullied because other people were using that app to report him. And he has some special needs, and it was actually a material issue, and he was reported 3 times in a row, in which case then the police are intervening inside of the house. And so this is a really good example of how we need to be very mindful that we create guardrails around this technology so that it's used for good. And that's where I think like this app would have an opportunity to be, we could pull those guardrails directly into the app so that if you're seeing this kind of behavior, it can be identified early.
along those lines, would you know the difference if someone had borrowed the phone, inputting things in there?
So this is what's really interesting is there's language models. It's actually more advanced than that, but there's these language models, and the way that I speak is very different than probably anybody else, and everybody else is unique in that way. And so if I have certain speech patterns and ways that I communicate, and then all of a sudden my older brother takes my phone and does something bad on the phone, acts a certain way or responds a certain way, then the AI can identify that outlier that oh wow, that's not Jamin, right? And so it can create a flag or a warning identifying me as not being in fact me. Yeah, and that again gets to the real power, the power of what we're talking about is it'd be impossible to pick that up in a survey, right? Because a survey is a very specific instrument, a Likert scale, et cetera. So you wouldn't be able to pick up those unique identifiers, but speech patterns and words used and things like that, or face even, can be identified.
And then privacy issues, anything there that might get out of control or out of hand?
And so privacy is an ongoing concern. Security is an ongoing concern relative to these matters. I've dealt with this for almost, 25 years or more. And so these are things that we have to be diligent and always in a state of protection. We do want there to be the option of toggling questions to be anonymous versus not anonymous. We haven't quite figured out what the right answer is there for students, but this is like the forefront of our minds, is protecting.
Then the other was exaggerating their comment. Some things are not always told or they're embellished.
Yeah, for sure. And so again, the language model will be able to figure out those outliers, those people that are potentially like exaggerating, materially exaggerating, in which case then it will be able to flag them as bad actors. But and that's the really interesting thing is this, there's a terrifying statistic according to the CDC that I believe it was the 10 years leading up to the pandemic, feelings of sadness and hopelessness and even acts against yourself, like suicide, increased by 40% among our kids. And it got even worse through the pandemic. And so what's interesting about this technology is it allows us to create a baseline at the individual level and at the classroom level, at the student level, right, so on and so forth, so that we can start measuring those differences of as students or communities are how we're feeling. And so I think that's probably one of the really interesting things about the model is it will yield for us those deltas, those changes in the behavior of the student and how they're thinking and feeling. That getting to your point about the use for evil, which I think is kind of the intent there, right? Like could somebody use it to game the system? That's always part of what we have to be diligent on protecting.
And then if you have somebody reporting violent progress, is there
Yes, there would have to be a red phone scenario where that feedback is routed specifically to the right person in the in administration.
Then you also mentioned, I think you said, like 400 employees.
At Decipher, I did, not now.
Oh,
No,
okay.
the Parsec Real is not, yeah. Sorry, that was my last company.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering for Madera Unified, how many employees would be set up to, if, I don't know, maybe this whole system takes care of itself, to monitor or to work the system?
So that's the nice part about the technology is it creates it's a very scalable, meaning that you don't have to have quite as many humans against it. But in this particular case, we have a total of 8 people that are focused on it. Yeah, and this would be specifically for you. Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
I'm sorry.
Are you talking about monitoring it on the district side?
Well, whoever would be monitoring it, whether it's. through the
So again,
organization-
it would be similar to the Stop It app. So we would have administrators assigned to either the district level, like Director Fernandez and I, or at site levels, we have administrators and security staff assigned to it.
And thank you for being so patient. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Clerk Mendoza.
For myself, so according to this, it started already on the 1st of May. So have we started anything on this or you just been looking into it?
Yeah, so great question. We actually have already been meeting with students in particularly and doing like student focus groups, getting feedback. We've been doing what we call like these street data sessions that we're incorporating like just raw feedback on the experiences in the schools. Like, so for example, today I was at, like I stated earlier, like at Madera High all day, but it's more for the lens of doing it the traditional manner, but I'm keeping in my head, like, how would we like do this, leveraging this type of technology and what are the best ways? So we're incorporating that into product development. Does that make sense of the application?
So where have you guys done this type of project before? Has it been done in any other school sites?
No, Madera would actually be our pilot,
Will
which
be the guinea pig.
well, I wouldn't. Yeah,
Be the
the
experiment.
guinea pig. Yes,
Will be the experiment.
yes, the experiment. But so far we're spending $50,000 a month, a little bit more than that, 52 or change, on research and development on the app. So we're very much treating it, and that's our money, by the way. Like that's not outside funding. So we're treating it very seriously in terms of
Investment from the company.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then, so like this data is so back up a bit.
Yeah.
Which sites, Mrs. Dorian, Director Dorian, will we decide between the 3 high schools or 4 with alternative ed? What will we decide to be beginning school? Or we're gonna start all the schools at the same time? How are we gonna come to that?
So the goal is to start with all the high schools.
Mhm.
So all of the three comprehensives and the alt eds. And then as we find benefit and get comfortable, we will start moving it down. But I'm imagining the first year, and maybe more, would only be at the high school level.
So then we will have, like you said, administrators, maintaining or going over this data,
Mhm.
that they'll be trained on.
Absolutely.
To look for these red flags and what is the level of this different data. Are the kids responding to certain questions? We will decide what questions. So we decide what questions are we gonna go, each site decide what question they're gonna have, or we're gonna do the same question.
So we'll have the same questions or consistent questions at all the sites. As we change questions, everybody will have the same sets of changed questions.
Okay, and so then we're gonna highlight this, and we're gonna start this. At what point are we gonna get a report, a feedback, or what type of,
Board level, you're saying?
yeah, at the board level, we're gonna be getting those reports of how this feedback is coming back of the different environment in these different schools.
We haven't discussed like the specific details of the timing of that, but we would love to do that fairly soon because we think it would be important for the board to, I know the board meetings tend to be late or whatever, but we'd have to work with the board president and figure out the timing of that. But the idea is because of this technology, we are able to synthesize themes fairly quickly. So we would be able to, at the board's pleasure, present, we would obviously work with Director Diorian and Superintendent Lyle, et cetera, to figure out when it makes sense for the, with the board schedule to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all for me. Thank you again, Director Dorian, Parsec,
Thank you.
Babatunde, and Jamian. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I see no more forward. Okay, so trustees, do you have any more further questions? No. Now I entertain a motion and a second, approve, item 13D1. Please state your name with the motion and a second for the motion.
President Salazar, trustee Dybert, I move to approve item number 13D1, request approval of services contract between Madera Unified School District and Parsec Real LLC to provide qualitative feedback through recorded video interviews and powerful analysis.
Thank you. Have a second, trustees?
Trustee Cortez, I will second.
Thank you, trustee Cortez. It has been moved by trustee Dybert and second by trustee Cortez to approve item 13D1. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Seibert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Item 14, announcements. Superintendent Lau, do you have any announcements for the board?
Only a few. We have a PAC meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, May 10th in the evening I think it is at 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. We also have the Madera High School Seal of Biliteracy celebration on Thursday, May 11th at 5:30 in the cafeteria. The Torres High School Student Recognition Night will be Thursday, May 11th at 6 p.m. in the gym in lieu of open house. And Madera County Arts Fest 2023 will take place on Saturday, May 13th at 10 a.m. at the Madera County Superintendent of Schools office. And Ms. Sissel, Mr. Bitter, and I will also be that morning at Babe Ruth. And I think Ms. Sissel's throwing out the first pitch. Underhand.
Thank you, Superintendent. Item number 15, miscellaneous board meeting information. Trustees, this is your opportunity for you to provide your fellow board members with updates or reports from committee meetings or events you have attended. I will start with trustee Cortez and Dybert, but please keep it brief because it's really late.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Dybert.
Yes. On Thursday, April 27, I was a guest speaker at the PK parent graduation ceremony. There was about 25 parents that graduating from the program. And what I was impressed by the parent who was a keynote speaker. And she said that she took the classes through Zoom and her daughter was doing her homework right next to her and help her a little bit to start this Zoom PK training. And she said, just from taking the classes, the relationship between she and her daughter grew. And her daughter told her she was feeling very proud of herself because her mom was advancing in her education. So I think that was very heartwarming story that she said. On Monday, May 1st, I attended the Madera High School Teacher Student Recognition, and it was very special, a special night for those students whose teachers felt that they stood out among other students in their class. I'm gonna keep it short. On Tuesday, May 2nd, I attended and along with the other trustees and gave awards to the graduates recipients of the State Seal of Biliteracy Certificate at Torres High School. There were about 60 plus students who received this award. I was impressed by the speech from Ms. Anayeli Montoya, who herself had received when she was in high school, I believe, 2 certificates, one in Spanish and one in French. And she spoke very fluently Espanol. And our own student board member, she's not here, Ingrid Sosa Ramirez was among the recipients of the award. And it was very nice to see the parents who were there and made them feel proud of all the work behind the scenes that for these students to receive these awards. And I spoke with a couple of students in Espanol and they were very fluent, really no accent on them. On Wednesday, May 3rd, I also attended the Madera South High School State Seal by Literacy, and I also saw Genesis Guillen receiving her award. I believe there were 40 plus students also receiving those awards. And Thursday, I'm looking forward to being part of the Madera High School celebration. Friday, May 5th, I just want to mention that I attended the funeral services for Mrs. Carmen Gallegos. She's a longtime retired employee of Madera Unified. And I just want to say that a lot of us, former MUSD district and school site staff, learned a lot from her expertise and went to her regularly for advice. I will miss Carmen a lot. Early today, I joined my fellow trustees at the Madera County School Board board meetings to witness the recognition of our world champion robotics team. It was another proud moment for Madera Unified. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Dybert. Trustee Cortez? No, all right. Trustee Fleek? Keep it brief.
The school year is going by very fast. The community has been generous to our graduating students. The 3 high school scholarship nights brought in about $250,000 for our deserving seniors. At the Thomas Jefferson Library, the district and community celebrated the graduation for the Parent Institute for Quality Education, which is PK program. Last Saturday, there was an active shooter training at Lincoln Elementary. And later in the day, Madera Community College had an open house. Trustee Seibert and I attended. There were many booths that were full of information about all that Madera Community College has to offer. Madera South and Matilda Torres High Schools had their seal of biliteracy honors for their students. Pershing Elementary had their 13 young teachers in the teacher residency program, and they were honored. And of course, the Proud Tigers had their 100-year celebration. And then the Madera County Superintendent, we were there to recognize the robotics team. And earlier this morning, they were recognized by the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Fleek. Trustee Seibert?
Yeah. I went to Madera Community College open house. I provided a tour of the CTE area of the classrooms. I was really impressed with all the equipment they have, very modern, just up-to-date, latest equipment. And made me think, we need to do more field trips to Madera Community College. You get 2 years of free education. And I'd like to see all of our students, maybe 6th grade, take a tour of some of those opportunities. And then like maybe again, when they either hit 8th grade or just before they go into high school, to help them decide what kind of career pathways they want to go into. But, I didn't think Madera Community College maybe had that much stuff in CTE. And I was just blown away with what they have. They have a lot. They probably need a little more room for the much amount of equipment that they have, but it's really impressive. And the other things I'm gonna report on is, I've been asking a lot of questions about Mississippi. You know, about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5, they started a policy where in order to go to 4th grade, you had to pass 3rd grade requirements. And so in the news the other day, it says that Mississippi was ranked 49th as compared to other states. And they've moved up 20 points. Now they're at 29. You know, so in the last 4 or 5 years, they've moved up that much. And so I keep talking about mastery or kids not moving ahead, you know, social promotion, that we need to have accountability as kids move up. And, you know, I'm also looking at more of this, you know, how can we hold kids accountable instead of just moving them through the system? You know, I was in 3rd grade this year, so next year we're going to be in 4th grade. No, we need to have standards and accountability with our students. And maybe we need to look more in Mississippi, what they did, you know, why they having that success that they're having. I know Superintendent Lyle's been in contact with some of the, communicating with some of the superintendents in Mississippi.
Yep.
I don't know if you had contact with them after we've had the discussion about this or not.
No, in fact, the day you brought it up, I think I shared with you, I was just online with a group of superintendents. There are actually, I think, 12 of us or 14 on that call, and 3 were from Mississippi. They hijacked the conversation for quite a while about their own issues. It was really interesting, and I wished I would have asked. So I do have their names, I do have their contact, and I'll be asking.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Seibert. Clerk Mendoza.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I too attended the State Seal by Literacy with trustees Fleek and Ibert, and I will concur that it was good. It was really good. It was really exciting to see them all receive their awards. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Mendoza. Myself, I attended the fellow trustees with Torres and Madera South by literacy recognition, and some of those students could show how proud they were. McSauce also, we attended the recognition earlier with Madtown, and they were the county trustees asked individual students some questions, and they answered like where they're going to go to college, what were their plans, and some of them actually, trustee Seibert, are thinking of going to Madera Community to get their first 2 years and then go from there. So that's good. They're thinking of that. These students seem to be thinking they don't want to get in debt for their career. So that was good feedback from them. Also attended the Madera South Scholarship presentations, and attended also the Red Pyramid at Torres, the concert. The different feeder schools were there. They all did an excellent job. That the Marachi band was there and they performed as well. And attended the Washington 100th anniversary. And there was 2 special guests that I took note of. One lady, she's 100 years old, and she was a student at Madera at Washington, and she was there, and she's 100 years old. Plus our guest speaker, Dr. Barbara Flores. She was a student at Washington, and she shared some of her experiences, and it's motivating for the future of our students as well. But that's all for myself. I thank you guys. So moving on. Suggestions for future agenda items, trustees. Do we have any other suggestions? Trustee Dibert? Okay. Trustee Cortez?
No.
Trustee Fleek?
I wrote something down, but now I can't remember.
Okay. Trustee Seibert?
I would kind of like to know how many kids are we sending or to Madera Community College on field trips? Because I always hear about, you know, taking kids to a UC and everything. But right here, we have a community college. They can get 2 years of credits. They don't have to pay anything. And I mean, in our community with a low income community, I mean, what an advantage. You know, we need to encourage more kids to go there. And then the success rate, they say, for a kids that enter a four-year college, the ones that complete is not very high. But kids that go to a two-year college, community college, they transfer, they finish at the four-year college. So I think, I'd just like to know how much are we encouraging kids to go to our community college?
Thank you, trustee Seibert. Clerk Mendoza,
Oh, nothing. Thank you.
nothing for myself at this time. So it is 9:48 and I call this meeting adjourned. Good night, be safe.